Miranda Petter Zuba into the wall.
It's actually Valero. Valero's actually gone off into the barriers, coming up to the cutting.
David Todd making his way back up is already climbed 7 positions.
Oh, it's supposed to be soon there. Sandy goes up.
So right now, this is going to be where it's going to get shaken up high. David Todd passes them while they are in the pit through the mountain straight now, going 3 wide.
Oh my word, that is probably one of the best shows of the entire season.
So we have 3-way battle going to the most dangerous turn of the mountain. Up the mountain, we have contact right there. These guys going absolutely crazy. It's going to come down to the final corner, Murray's corner. Who is going to have to leave? We may have a drag race to the finish line on our hands, folks. You see David Todd right now going into the pit lane.
We go racing for heat number 1 here in Austria from AMX20 in towards the Mickey Lauda curve, bumping and banging and into the wall. That is a horrible crash. That's a huge lunge from Gaston Campavi, and he's made contact with, I believe, wow, it's a chaotic moment here. And slipstream in front for either car, and you can just see Petter Zuba pushing Florian Lamigra right over.
Here we go then, Valero, he looks left, he looks right, he's getting through the right hand side, which is the inside going into 10-3.
Here it is. This is the crucial moment in this race. It's looking like it's only going one way. David Todt is going to take the race lead. Heading into the second half of the season, the Hungarian of David Todt has driven a masterclass here with the early pit stop. Not the ideal strategy, but an ideal race winner and an excellent performance.
To save our home, we must travel through the gateway to find new energy.
and a big welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the season finale of AMX Season 5. It's race number 47 and 48 here for you this evening to round out what has been a fantastic endeavour across the last couple of months. Firstly, tonight we head to Oran Park, a circuit located in New South Wales, Australia, just southwest of Sydney, and it is a fabulous car and fabulous track combination for you tonight. My name is Evan Dalton. It's a pleasure to have you alongside me tonight, and it's a pleasure, of course, to have the very fabulous Kevin Garcia. Kevin, out of the cockpit and back on the mic for tonight. Kevin, this should be a good one.
Oh, absolutely. One of the biggest things, I believe, like we were talking before this stream, we were out here for the championship last year, and I know that one, there's definitely a lot of drama. So I expect to see a bit of that going on today, especially with the finale closing out yesterday, the AMX 5 category. It was pretty intense. I mean, chaos all the way up until the last lap. So I kept telling everyone, I think that's going to be a preview for what we see today, and I still hold by my word.
Yes, folks, we're going to have a brilliant race here around Oran Park, and then we're going to have an even better race around Spa-Francorchamps later on. We're going to have a great show for you here tonight, folks, so do not go anywhere. Make sure to stick around. But of course, as always, we've got to remind you that if you do fancy leaving the stream, make sure it's to one of AMX's social media channels across the bottom. You can see our Instagram, Twitch, X, all the lot. Make sure you do go check out them. We will talk more on this fabulous car and track combination in a couple of moments time, but as always, you're well used to it now. We have a little bit of housekeeping to run you through. So May 25th we started, and we end today on August 18th. We've handed out almost over $15,000 because we still have tonight's races to go, and some fabulous next level racing gear. This is the AMX Zero Championship that you're watching first. It is a 15-minute qualifier. Top 15 then will be reversed, but we don't have 15 tonight, so the whole grid will be reversed. Heat 1 then is 15 minutes, then we have another reverse grid, and then we have heat number 2. The prize amounts for every standing are the same for every session. Driver cams, of course, required for the AMX simracing World Championship this season. The balances for payment are over $100 are paid out each month, and of course we race on Saturday and Sunday, and you can race not just tonight in AMX20, but you can race next season, of course, for Season 6 by signing up at amxrace.com. The schedule then, of course, we have tonight's action, which is AMX Zero at 5:50 p.m. GMT and AMX20 at 7 o'clock p.m. GMT. And yesterday, of course, you saw we had 2 AMX5 races, and then if we were racing next weekend, we would have 2 AMX5 races as well. But 5:50 p.m. GMT, always your first race, 7 p.m. GMT for AMX20, and then it'll be 7:20 p.m. GMT if it was an AMX5 race coming up after this one. The prize pool for the AMX Zero Championship, of course, it's $5 if you manage to take yourself a win or pole position, 4 for second, 3 for third, and it is 2 for fourth, $175 for fifth, $150 for sixth, $125 for seventh, and it is $1 for eighth, 90 cents for ninth, and then so on and so forth, all the way down to 15th place. And in the race, if you do manage to take the fastest lap, you can pick yourself up an extra $1 to your prize pool. And then, of course, coming up this evening on AMX20, we have the NLR Gear giveaway, which is something you do not want to miss at all. That doesn't open now. That will be for this evening's race in AMX20. So make sure you stick around for that one. You can see the instructions on your screen. Take a screenshot now. Get them ready for this evening's action. And then, of course, a little look into next season. For Season 6, we'll have some new formats. We'll have multiple tiers and endurance races as well. That's coming very, very soon, folks. And actually, a little birdie in the paddock told me that the could be a very big event rounding off that season 6 with a humongous prize pool. I know me and Kevin have heard a little bit about that. We can't say too much more because we don't know too much more, but it's going to be something that you're going to want to stick around, folks. That's season 6, but we are going to keep our eyes on the finale of season 5 now for the minute, but that just whets the appetite a little bit. And now I am going to hand it over to Kevin to keep our eyes on season 5 and to take a look through what we have coming up this evening.
Thanks, Evan. And yeah, definitely. So this is one of the cars and tracks, a little bit older out there. We are back out at Oran Park Raceway, of course, in New South Wales, Narellan, New South Wales, Australia. It was opened back in 1962 and unfortunately has been closed since 2010 to be built with a lot of housing developments on top of it. So if you go and look at it on a map right now, go to Google Maps, you'll see a bunch of houses where the track used to be. But today's layout, we're running the Grand Prix layout, which is about 2.6 kilometers. And for all of my fellow American units out there, that would be 1.6 miles. So Oran Park, definitely one of the most historic races out in Australia. Running its last V8 supercar race also back in 2008. But that's not what we're going to be running out here today. Like we said, we are running the Volkswagen Jetta TDI Cup car. And if this is one of those that you don't recognize,
Bit of problems there with Kevin seemingly just breaking up, but what he was going to say, this is the Volkswagen Jetta TDI car, which you can see on your screen. 168 brake horsepower approximately, a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder TDI diesel, top speed of about 214 kilometers an hour or 133 miles, which is very nippy, especially around a circuit like Oran Park. Not to 60 mile an hour, not to 100 kilometers an hour in 5.9 seconds. It is novice difficulty here in the iRacing platform, and it is a front-engined FWD. So very intriguing. 1,379 kilograms and a sequential gearbox, of course, as well. So it's a very interesting car, very interesting track, this one as well, this Oran Park circuit, as Kevin was going through. Very sadly has closed down, but trust me, this is going to be a very intriguing race because it is high speed, it is not easy to overtake here, and it is going to be, I think, a fantastic race. I'm not sure if Kevin is back with us. Kevin, can you hear me? No, it seems like we have still lost Kevin, so we will get Kevin back in a couple of moments, but we are going to cut into qualifying, folks, and take a look at this Oran Park circuit. We have 9 drivers in the field tonight, which I know doesn't sound a lot, but it's only a 12-corner, 2.6 kilometer circuit. It's not that big. These guys will still provide a great showing. Lap record around here is a 101.6. That was set by Tim Leahy in a Formula Holden in 2000. We are about 15 seconds slower than that, 1:16.8 currently. The quickest time in qualifying by Miguel Araujo, the Spaniard-Portuguese. Currently top of the order, ahead of Ayrton Reitman, Pedro Mora, Gaston Kilhavy, David Ziwak, then Evanto Dantas, Diogo Villarreal, then it is Felipe Spetronov and Tim State. That is your running order. And you can just see the undulation here at this Oran Park circuit. It is up, it is down. This is the final corner, of course, the Recaro corner, and down towards the sweeper. So it is very interesting. We'll try run you through the full track in a couple of moments' time, as we are just looking at down towards turn number 1. So you can see this is the number 3 on your screen in the Nez quick livery. This is your current pole sitter, Miguel Araujo, and I think we'll take a lap with Miguel Araujo because he's just coming through the final corner now, down towards turn number 1 here in the Volkswagen Jetta TDI. The first corner is a very quick left-hander. That is the sweeper. There's 5 to the left, 7 to the right here. And this is Miguel heading in towards the first corner. So in towards the sweeper, and then you're just heavy braking as you head through it for the Coca-Cola corner. Not many curves on this track. Not a lot of room to run wide as well. Then you're down towards turn number 3. This is the Shell corner. Shell were the title sponsors for the Australian Touring Car Championship race that used to come here back in the early noughties, late 90s. Once you get through there, you're down towards the Champion curve and into a very unique part of this circuit. This is the Okama Bridge. So you're heading up look over a very, very thin bridge and immediately heading to the right. This is a very nice lap indeed so far by Miguel Araujo. That's through turn number 6 and then in towards turn number 7 and up through turn number 8. This is known as Foster's Dip. Around through the Momo corner of turn number 9. You're just clipping the curves as much as you can. Immediately have to get back to the left hand side because this is for the O'Brien aluminium dogleg in through 10 and 11. Very quick through there for Araujo. And then you're in towards the Recaro corner, the final corner, turn number 12. Very much uphill. Get the throttle down immediately as you can. And that's a great lap from Miguel Araujo. Will it be quicker than what he's currently said so far? Currently on the pole anyways, here for the finale of AMX Zero, and it will go quicker. 1:16.566. That was a perfect lap to look on with Miguel Araujo. He will go as quick as Nesquik and to the top of the order. He's ahead of Ayrton Reutemann in second position. Ayrton Reutemann, your championship leader here in AMX Zero, and he's looking like he's all going to confirm his status as the AMX Zero champion here tonight, but still a job to do. He's got fellow Argentines and fellow South Americans on the grid who will be looking to challenge one of the best names in AMX, I think, as I have self-voted this season. But only 3 minutes to go here in qualifying for the Oran Park finale in the Volkswagen Jetta. And it's quite close out there. There was a couple of tenths of a second separating a lot of drivers. It's Reutemann ahead of Pedro Mora, Gaston Kilhavy in 4th, Vandro Dantas in 5th, David Zewalk in 6th, and there goes Pedro Mora. He's improved to 2nd. It's a 1:16.823 for Pedro Mora, the Brazilian driver. That's a very nice lap indeed. This is Miguel Araujo, who you're looking at once again for the final corner where we left him. He has improved in the 4th of 5 sectors and is looking to beat his previous best. Across the line goes Araujo. Won't be an improvement here. That lap would have been good enough for pole position anyways, but he's already gone quicker. You can see how ferociously quick this first corner is and how heavy you have to slam on the brakes while on board with Miguel Araujo. Someone asking, what is that flag? If you mean with Miguel Araujo, it is just a mix of the Portuguese and the Spanish flag. Portuguese to the left, Spanish to the right. Don't worry, you haven't gone insane. Felipe Spetronev goes to 7th spot, and that is a nice improvement there for Spetronev. Diogo Villarreal in 8th, Tim State in 9th. And we are going to have 1 minute left in qualifying. So if you're not if you haven't started a lap by now, I should say, you'll be able to finish it. So Araujo looking solid as Mora is into the pit lane. As this is Spetronev, who you're looking at in the number 52. A very sort of simple livery compared to some of the others here tonight. He just heads over the Okama Bridge and flicks it down to the right. Here comes Miguel Araujo then. He's improved once again, and Araujo's improvements knows no ends, and that's off the wall for Miguel Araujo. Will that have helped him get through the corner? We'll have to wait and see, or as it squanders his lap. Araujo comes up and across the line, and there won't be an improvement there. He picked up a 1x or something on his lap, so no improvement for Miguel Araujo. He will stay still top of the order. He didn't need an improvement necessarily, but he won't be able to find one. Gaston Kilhavy improving big. He's just heading up through the O'Brien aluminium dogleg in through 10 and 11, which is a bit of a mouthful to say as a corner name, but it is just known as the dogleg, of course. Then it's in towards the final corner. There's no room for error there, as we saw with Miguel Araujo. You're unwide, you glance off that wall. That will be qualifying, unfortunately. Kilhavy won't be able to get to the start-finish line before the 15 minutes runs out. A very quick qualifying here at Oran Park, and it is Miguel Araujo who will take pole position and your final pole for the season here in AMX Zero. It is Araujo top of the order ahead of Mora, Reutemann, Kilhavy, Dantas, Zewalk, Spetronev, Villarreal and Tim State. Kevin, I know you didn't get to see much of qualifying, but Miguel Araujo still looks very quick here.
Yeah, sorry about that. So I had a few little bit of technical difficulties going on there. Of course, wouldn't be a better time than the finale. But anyways, yeah, definitely. I'm going to have to watch back the qualifying. But seeing what it looks like, Miguel Araujo, one of the faces we haven't seen much out here at AMX. So I'm glad to see a lot of people we mentioned all the time coming out here and say, hey, get out there in the races. AMX Zero is a great place to get started. So coming back out here with AMX Zero, absolutely, we might have to get back in here. So back to you, Evan, as we are heading into heat number 1.
Yes, we are heading into heat number 1, and we're going to have a standing start here at Oran Park, the circuit that was established by the Singer Car Club during its opening meeting on the 17th of February 1962, and it provided some brilliant action. It was an overly successful circuit, this one here in Oran Park. It was designed by George Murray and Jack Allen, and it was actually set to close down a lot earlier than they thought. The Leppington Pastoral Company took it over to graze sheep, pretty much, with their owner Tony Perrich. It was going to just abolish the circuit, fell in love with the sport, and kept it going for many years. Just like we fell in love with the sport, just like we've fallen in love with AMX here in season number 5. Will we fall in love one more time here with these races as we go racing for the opening heat here in Oran Park? That's a great start from Miguel Araujo. He is from Tim State, I should say, who is blinking a little bit. So Diogo Villarreal is going to look to dispatch the American very early on, down towards the first corner. Braking for turn number 2, the heavy braking zone. There is a car just bouncing into the back. That's the number 52 of Felipe Spetronev, who's got himself into a little bit of trouble as they head through the Coca-Cola corner for the first time.
And just like that, so I mean, I'm absolutely, I'm supposed to be a little bit unbiased out here, but trying to root for Tim State, the fellow countryman. We've seen Tim, he's been an AMX veteran out here for quite some time, and definitely it's great to see him out here leading the race so far. He's been in this position quite a few times, not only in AMX Zero, but in AMX 5 as well. So we'll see if Tim can hold on to it, but we still got 12 laps to figure that out. But right now, side by side going on there, Ayrton Royman of Andro Dantas, a beautiful move to go out. So Ayrton Royman doing a great job out here in these Volkswagen Jettas.
Oh, problems for, I believe it's Spetronev. Well, it was someone heading in towards the dog leg, just having a little bit of a slide and falling down the order. Spetronev did actually survive. It is the car with the Volkswagen logo very much prominent on the top of it. It's Gaston Kilhavy. He's surrounded by a sea of yellow. Not Coldplay would be very happy with how this grid is looking, because it quite literally is all yellow. And Dantas is ahead of Kilhavy, Moore and Araujo now. Tim State, though, still leading 0.4 of a second in front of David Ziwak. That's a very healthy lead for the American so far. Is there a move here for Pedro Moore? I believe there is. He's ahead of Araujo. So despite being the quickest in qualifying, Miguel Araujo having some trouble in the opening lap, not gaining any spots.
And so now, I mean, we always know it's going to be side-by-side, door-to-door racing whenever we drop the horsepower for these drivers. But being out there, too, just having a little bit of experience in the AMX Zero race this season, hopped on a couple of weeks ago, I believe, right before the last AMX20 race, out in the GR86 Cup cars. So it's always a great time, even though, you know, I'm still, what you'd say, pretty much a rookie out there. It's still great fun going up, being able to see what these top drivers can do and kind of try learning from them a bit. I know it's all one big community out here, but today, definitely we'll have to see. Like we said, we're already still lap 2. Tim State holding on to that, about a half-second gap over David Zivak, but Zivak being one of those drivers that we've seen do just absolutely amazing, and no matter what car, definitely going to have to be looking out for him.
A diverse driver is David Ziwak, and he set the fastest lap of the race, and now going to go for the move on Tim State down towards the sweeper and in towards the Coca-Cola corner, and it's all gone wrong for David Ziwak, for Tim State. Ziwak gets the move done. State, who is side by side, brakes late, and he's been the cause of his own demise in towards turn number 2 from the lead to the back for poor Tim. He has dropped it. Very disappointing. Here's Reutemann and Spetronev battling for a third spot. Reutemann is ahead of Spetronev. 168 brake that these cars have, so 168 brake horsepower these guys are utilizing, heading over the Okama Bridge in towards the right-hander. This is getting very close here on lap 3.
Yeah, no, we're definitely going to have to take a look at that replay later on to see exactly what led to those guys getting into each other just like that. Like you said, it looked like a bit of just turning in. I know that is one of the hardest corners to master out here at this racetrack. Definitely have to keep a lot more speed going into it than you may think, but also with these cars, they don't have much downforce going into some of these corners, so definitely just all that mechanical grip. And ooh, right here as we say that there, looks like we have Spetronev just getting a little bit squirrely right there as well. So now putting him down a few places, leaving the door wide open for a few other drivers. But now going too wide, we have Araujo as well as Pedro Muro right behind him. So these guys definitely heating up already. The races are getting close out the gate.
Yes, battle for third spot here. And fourth, Villarreal ahead of Miguel Araujo. And there you can see Mora, Spetronev, Kulhavi, Dantas, Tim Stake could even get back up to the pack here with all this ducking and dicing, and down the inside, huge move from Gaston Kulhavi, the Argentine. He now has Spetronev on his inside, heading through the right-hander. Well, that was a great move from Kulhavi, opportunistic, but Spetronev says anything you can do, I can do better. He makes the move up ahead of Kulhavi. Now Dantas gets the move done over the bridge. Great move from Evandro Dantas. It's bumping, it's door-to-door racing, but it's excellent.
And so here we can see holding on to the back end of Diego Villarreal, we have Araujo, who, like we said, right there, also the Tim State incident there in the bottom right, which, like I said, that incident looked like just a bit of a racing incident, kind of, in my opinion. We'll have to see. Of course, we do have the KARA out here. If there's any incidents going on that these drivers may want to protest, may want to say, hey, I think this guy was getting a little bit too aggressive. So we have the officials out here, but right now, it is all David Givok. Ayrton Reutemann going for the move right now onto the inside of turn one. He's able to get it, holding on to that. So, Evan, I expect this to be one of those places that a lot of drivers really trying to make that move for first place.
Yeah, it's a track where you can defend the lead. It's not necessarily one that you'll be swapping and changing at the whole time. It is definitely a track that you can defend the lead because of its tight nature, because of its short lap times. We're only on lap 5 out of 12 here in AMX Zero, and it is Ayrton Reutemann, the current championship leader, that is leading ahead of David Ziwak in second. There goes Miguel Araujo, I should say. He's up to third ahead of Diogo Villarreal. Diogo Villarreal, the winner of AMX 1 last season in Season 4. He's looking to keep a strong championship position here in Season 5, but it's behind Miguel Araujo, so he'll be looking to try and get back onto the podium in the very yellow number 5 machine. That's Pedro Mora, just behind Diego Villarreal. So Diego just struggling a little bit there. You can see for the SART livery on the number 22 in front. That is Villarreal. And then it's Mora right behind, but behind for not how much longer, because up the inside goes Pedro Mora. Villarreal, big mistake. Spetronev got to try and capitalise on this one as well, down the long straight in towards the sweeper for the 6th time. There is Spetronev just trying to find an avenue of attack, just trying to get down the inside of Diogo Villarreal. The outside doesn't really work for here unless you can brake a lot later. Diogo Villarreal with a very bumped front bumper. Spetronev sliding out of line. These cars are taking a bit of damage here on this race, but that's what you got to do if you want to overtake at Oran Park.
Yeah, and of course, I'm looking at chat now too. A lot of people out there just having a great time out here today. Like we said, of course, a lot of people loving these races. We are definitely going to be having a lot more to come in Season 6. So like we said, make sure to follow all of our social medias. Make sure to stay tuned to amxrace.com. Once we start posting the schedules, posting replays, a lot will be going on there now that we have a few weeks. So we're going to not be on break too long. We're going to only be out just a few weeks. So definitely start prepping, inviting your friends. Of course, everyone out there in chat, we see you week in and week out. We'd love to see you out on the track as well. But right now out here, heat number 1, we are about halfway through on board with Gaston Kulhavi trying to make the move over Spetronev. But looking like we said, Evan, you mentioned it earlier, this is definitely one of those courses where you're going to be doing a lot more defending than really overtaking. So it's going to come down to a lot of these guys just making those small mistakes and leaving that door wide open.
Fastest lap of the race goes to Pedro Mora, who's in 4th. Spetronev gets ahead of Villarreal. That is Pedro Mora that you can see just behind David Ziwak. David Ziwak in the sort of police car livery, I think it is. It's something in the sort of sheriff's car or something here in the Volkswagen Jetta, but it is Miguel Araujo in the Nesquik livery, and David Ziwak there in 2nd. And then you can see Pedro Mora, the current fastest lap holder, just behind. And Ziwak doing a good job, but Ayrton Reutemann is running away at the front, and here comes Miguel Araujo, opportunistic from Araujo, and he's up and ahead. That's a brilliant move from Miguel, really took his chances over the Yokohama bridge, and he's up and ahead of the Polishman.
I mean, I'm starting to get a feeling that some of these lower horsepower vehicles, it really comes down also to the livery. If you get the correct livery, that's at least an extra 20 horsepower right there. So, I mean, that's really coming into play here. We've seen it yesterday. Gael Valero winning in the Renault Clio Cups out there, had one of the best liveries, and he walked away with the win. So, I mean, that might be one of the things that we might have to wait and see out here from Reutemann, Araujo as well. The police car, A lot of people not sure if they want the police car, but all jokes aside, looking in the back, Villarreal unfortunately spinning now off the track, so we might have to also see a replay what happened there. I just seen him in the very back, a lot of tire smoke going up, and Villarreal's car off into the grass.
As it seems like there's a bit of a chuckle of some sorts from Villarreal there on the driver camera, but you can really see a sense of the undulation in this track when Villarreal ran off. It's a reclimb a hill to get back up. And, he is back in 9th place and will carry on because he wants pole for the next heat, but disappointing there for Villarreal. We're going to go for a full AMX replay here, see what happened to Diogo Villarreal. This is in towards the right-hander. You can see the live on the picture-in-picture as well. That's Ziwak being attacked by the car behind. A bit of contact there. So the number 22 being spun round by the number 32. It's Diogo Villarreal and Evandro Dantas. Dantas the latter, seemingly at fault for that. Villarreal might certainly put in an appeal, but Villarreal then went off on his own. He was at the back anyways. So it's a disappointing lap 6 for Diogo. Here comes Pedro Mora down towards the first corner. Is he going to be able to dive down the inside on David Ziwak? He does. There's a little bit of contact between the two, but they both survive, heading through the Coca-Cola corner, down towards the Shell corner, and up towards the Champion curve. Ayrton Reutemann flying through that Champion curve, because he is soon to become the champion. And Ziwak just not able to get past, or sorry, Mora not able to get past Ziwak. This is the battle for third, of course. David Ziwak doing an off, and this is the corner where he lost the position on the last lap. Is Pedro Mora able to repeat what Miguel Araujo achieved the last time round? No, he isn't, and Mora will have to stay behind in towards Foster's dip in the Momo corner. And David Ziwak, the Polishman, just staying ahead for the time being. Now we've got another replay here, so something else has happened out on the track that maybe we missed. Let's have a look at this one. This is the actual spin for Diogo Villarreal. He dived down the inside of Evandro Dantas. Was potentially fueled with a bit of rage, and did Dantas hit him round again? I think he did. I don't think it's been a good lap for these two, in all honesty. Yeah, round goes Diogo Villarreal. So that's what happened between Villarreal and Dantas. They sorted that one out amongst themselves.
Yeah, and just like that, like you said, a bit of emotions flying out here today. Like we said, AMX Zero, although it is a bit more of that entry-level race, still these guys are trying to push it as hard as they can. I think this is one of those, you know, they're not winning huge prize money out here for AMX Zero, but definitely as a driver, you want to be having the bragging rights to say, okay, I got you on this, especially whenever you've had a few incidents going into some of these other AMX 5 races this season. Definitely the rivalries showing out here on track during AMX Zero, but with only just a few laps left, it looks like Ayrton Reutemann may be walking away with this one. There's quite a bit of gap, just over 2.5 seconds between all top 3 of our drivers. So the podium, as long as these guys don't make any mistakes, our podium may be set.
Yeah, the Brazilian of Pedro Mora is now up to third. He's got ahead of David Ziwak and has pulled 1.1 seconds. So Ziwak could be under a bit of pressure from Kulhavi maybe. Still a great race from David Ziwak so far. A great race from this man as well, Ayrton Reutemann. And one thing I love about this track is they can run so far around the final corner. The game actually registers it as a pit entry. That's just the racing line that they're all taking. So it goes to show that these drivers, especially in AMX, will try to capitalise on every ounce of asphalt that they don't get penalised for. And that's what Ayrton Reutemann has done best. That's why he has accumulated a very healthy 40.4 championship points this season. Only one session win from Reutemann. He has been very consistent indeed. Here's Dantas looking to get past Tim State. So Dantas and Villarreal's shenanigans has allowed Tim State to get back into this one. State is in the red, Dantas in the yellow. Tim State no longer running the VR headset, I've noticed, so he's clearly had enough of that one. But still, a feisty racer, a man who can make some moves, but has to defend now, so there'll be no moves made from State. He's got to keep Dantas behind for the next lap and a half. It's Gaston Kulhavi looking to attack David Ziwak down towards the final couple of corners. This uphill right-hander I think could be one of my favourite corners. in motorsport at the minute. It's a real shame that this Oran Park circuit was closed in 2010, but you know, Brian Aluminium dogleg is just ferociously quick. I'd love to see a Formula 1 car go through there, because I think it would go airborne. But not these guys. Kulhavi and Zewok have this track aced like the back of their hand, and Kulhavi will be looking to try and break a lot later than Zewok in towards the first corner, potentially the latest he's ever broke around Oran Park. But no, he'll lift off and he'll try let Zewok make a mistake on his own, and there's a little bit of a bump between the two. Rubbin is racing, as they have said in the past. These two taking it literal, pardon me, and Gaston Kulhavi looking to just get ahead of David Zewok. We do need to keep an eye on Ayrton Reitman as well, who's coming around to take a fabulous race win here in the first heat of the evening in AMX Zero. The number 7 just not able to get past the number 1 in the form of David Zewok, but this is the corner where they've all got the move done on Zewok. Zewok seems to get a poor run up through the Yokohama Bridge. He survived this time though, and Gaston Kulhavi still looking to hound down in towards turn number 6, 7 and 8. Very close indeed. Could be a dive into the final corner for Gaston Kulhavi, who's heading in towards the final couple of corners now. He has the dog leg to complete. On the outside of Zewok now is Kulhavi. He's trying to swap him in. He's trying to swap him out, and he's trying to just take his position. But here's Ayrton Reitman rounding through the final corner. He will take the opening win here in heat number 1. Miguel Araujo in second, Pedro Mora in third, David Zewok will take fourth, Kulhavi will get fifth behind Zewok, wasn't able to make the move. Spetronev will come home in sixth, Tim State in seventh, Vandro Dantas in eighth, and then it'll be a non-finish for Diogo Villarreal in ninth. But he'll start on the pole for the next heat, so it's still all rosy in the garden for the Uruguayan.
And just like that, we have one heat left of our AMX Zero races this season. Man, I mean, I think the only thing right now that might switch this up is just that reverse grid. But nonetheless, out here, our BenQ session winner, Ayrton Reitman, really putting it down out here today, Evan.
Yes, it is Ayrton Reitman, your BenQ session winner, with Miguel Araujo in second, Pedro Mora in third, with David Zewok in fourth, and it's Gaston Kulhavi in fifth. Felipe Spetronev then is in sixth, with Tim State in seventh, Vandro Dantas in eighth, ahead of Diogo Villarreal in ninth, and of course, not finishing that one. Your fastest lap went to Pedro Mora, so that's an extra $1 into his prize wallet.
So just like that, like we said, another reverse grid. So it's always a top 15 reverse grid out here for these races. We have less than 15 drivers on grid, so luckily everyone getting involved in that. But yeah, I mean, I think really right now we'll have to see if we're going to get that again. Ayrton Reitman going to be trying to get that back-to-back win out here in heat number 2. I know he has the pace to do it, so Evan, we'll just have to wait to see, as these guys are moments away from going green out here. Oran Park, the final heat. Here we go, folks, and we are off. Diego Villarreal getting a pretty good start off the bat, but I can see there another red car. That looks like that might be Tim State coming down for the hunt. Vandro Dantas now taking advantage, trying to go get the great optimal line out here into turn number 1. And let's see if these drivers can keep it clean. So far, 2 wide. Looks like almost 3 wide there in the back of the pack.
Tempers were flared between Dantas and Villarreal in the last heat, but Dantas is well ahead here in this one. State in third, Spetronev just making the move up to fifth. They're still 2 wide. That's Zewok on the outside, Spetronev on the in, but Spetronev is ahead now for the time being. Pedro Mora still in the steady fourth. Keep an eye on him. Ayrton Reitman not gaining any positions on the race start. Neither did Miguel Araujo. They're still 8th and 9th. You can see Tim State being put under huge amounts of pressure from Pedro Mora. He'll struggle to get past in the next few corners. Might be a turn 1 move for Mora.
And now popping up on screen, everyone that wants to see the live timing, go ahead and scan the QR code on the screen popping up periodically. Get a lot more info on what these drivers are doing, where they're at, as well as seeing that. Oh, but right now looking like right there, the number 1. So guys getting into a little bit of accident. Well, not quite an accident right there, but a little bit of tire screeching, a little bit of door banging once again. And we have, of course, the police car there looking. Oh, now it looks like Spetronev going into the pits. So unfortunately, Spetronev may be having a bit of damage going on there. So this may be his heat number 2 out of the bag in, just an unfortunate turn of events, but leaving room for some of these other guys now to start catching up, start making their way through the field. Now, Ayrton Reitman still in the back of the pack, has his work cut out for him if he wants to get back up on that top spot in heat number 2.
Yeah, it's currently Dantas, Villarreal, Mora, State, Araujo, Kulhavi, Ziwak, and Erden Reutemann. Your top 8 with, of course, Felipe Spetronev having to take a little bit of a trip down the pit lane. Villarreal under a bit of pressure from Pedro Mora. Andrew Dantas has ran a second up the road from these guys, so a job well done there. You can see on the left to the bottom of the screen is Diogo Villarreal, sporting his infamous beanie at this point in AMX. Seems to always be wearing it, but has ran a little bit wide, so you might need that to avoid a bit of gravel in the hair. Pedro Mora then on the right, you can see below. He's looking to just try and get in front, and Pedro Mora is going to dive down the inside of Villarreal. Villarreal's ran wide for the final corner. Once again, it's a mistake he's made a couple of times so far tonight. It's a Brazilian 1-2 here at Oran Park. Villarreal in third, Tim State in fourth, trying to look for the move on Diogo Villarreal. It's potentially an unexpected battle for a podium place here in AMX Zero, but that's what these brilliant reverse grids provide. Tim State looking the long way around the outside, just has to hold him from going out of shape. That invites Miguel Araujo up the inside, who is very quick here in this race. He's looking to go for the move in towards the shell corner. It's going to be last of the late breakers. State will stay in front for the time being, but Araujo is knocking on the door.
So great job right there from Tim State, doing a beautiful job defending, and these guys too. But like we said, although he's trying to focus on defending right now, he still has his work cut out if he wants to catch back up to Diogo Villarreal. So like we said, once again, what we've seen in heat number 1 now going into heat number 2, I think a lot of this really is going to still come down to some of those minor mistakes that these drivers do, whether it's just slightly leaving the door wide open for someone to go in, be able to stick their nose in there, especially in these cars. These cars can take a little bit more of a beating in something compared to, say, an F4 car, but definitely these guys pushing every bit of tire grip to the limit. Just the last lap, and right here, ooh, looking to take a peek. Araujo looking to the inside of Tim State, but not going for the move. That could have been very dangerous if he decided to go for that one right there.
Yes, Miguel Araujo looking to try and overtake Tim State. Araujo on pole, or took the pole I should say, because the reverse grid sent them down the back of heat number 1. He's now looking to get past Tim State in towards the left-hander. Not able to just make the move just yet, but you can see his front windshield is full with that red in towards the right-hander. Still no move on for Miguel Araujo, but keep an eye on the back part of the circuit. Moves can still arrive, and especially when you're as quick as Araujo has been here tonight in one of his first races in AMX, I believe. But as Gaston Kilhavy, who has been around these parts a few times. Gaston 2nd overall in AMX Season 2, 4th overall in AMX Season 4. He knows his way, knows how to make an overtake here in AMX.
Absolutely, and I see a lot of the Brazilians out there in the chat cheering on Dantas. Still Dantas in the lead now in lap number 4. Also Pedro Mora still in 2nd, followed by Diogo Villarreal in 3rd. So like we said, the last heat, I mean, a lot of these drivers, we thought we knew what was going to happen, but time and time again, anything can happen. As we see up here still, the 2 Brazilian 1-2 now. Pedro Mora going and taking the inside line over Dantas. So Pedro Mora, we'll see if he has enough grip, has enough speed, or if Dantas is also just going to maybe be a little bit patient here. So we see them sliding off on the outside of the track, both of them, just the rear end going off there. And we can see the battle for P4 going on as well. Ooh, a little bit of contact between those guys there, shaking up the grid just a bit, as well as Erden Reutemann trying to take advantage of those battles now, trying to go up a few places now to the inside, able to get over Araujo, and now trying to hunt down Gaston Kulavi.
Yeah, Erden Reutemann in 5th place, dominated the first heat, and he's looking to do something similar here in heat number 2, but he's got a bit of a task ahead of him if he would like to do so. As you can see the chat talking about drifting. There's been a lot of sort of drifting and out of shape moments tonight, but these drivers, their skill has really come to front, and it is absolute fabulous to watch these guys drive around this Oran Park circuit as they're rounding in towards the final corner, passing the grandstands, passing the fabulous control tower designed off the Spanish style of the nearby El Cablo Blanco horse dressage facility, and down towards the ferocious turn number 1. It's really providing here in the final race of AMX Zero, and Erden Reutemann is looking to round it off with a win. He's hunting down fellow Argentine Gaston Kilhavy. The 2 Argentines looking to attack the 2 Brazilians. They have a Uruguayan in between, and there's out of shape moment. And Gaston Kilhavy looking to get past Diogo Villarreal. Kilhavy is past Villarreal. Can Ethan Reutemann follow through? He's looking to do so, but Villarreal taking a defensive approach, and now Ayrton Reutemann has got a brake late in towards the right-hander at the Shell corner, and Ayrton Reutemann is ahead of Diogo Villarreal, and in towards the champion corner, the champion curve I should say. The champion gets ahead.
And here we go, so just beautiful moves, and like we said, we've seen a lot of these drivers as well in the AMX5 races coming out here, putting it down, so definitely great to see what they can do in some of these more entry-level vehicles, such as the Volkswagen Jetta. Last time we were out here at Oran Park, we were in the MX5 Cup cars, and it was more of the same, with Gael Valero winning that one. Of course, Gael Valero not out here on track with us today. I can't even talk today. He was able to take home the championship yesterday. So closing out the AMX5 season yesterday, of course, Gael Valero leading that championship nearly all season long, and of course taking it, becoming a back-to-back champion for AMX. And now, hopefully, we get to see him coming up later in the AMX20 race. But also, speaking of AMX20 race, make sure all of you guys are still tuned in 7 p.m. GMT, where we're going to be doing that great next level racing gear giveaway. We have plenty of prizes to give away to our viewers out there. Come out here, chat with us. I see a lot of you already in here in chat on Twitch. Love to see you guys. Well, once the AMX20 race starts, that's when we're going to start that giveaway. So you don't want to miss out on that. But back to the race out here. Tim State now still trying to fight get over David Gvok. So we'll have to see, not having the best of days, a little bit unlucky there in heat number 1, getting spun out and just was unable to really recover from that. But out here in heat number 2, he's still looking quite strong. Like we said, a lot of these guys have been door to door, had a couple of incidents going on, but it wouldn't be AMX if we didn't have that kind of aggressiveness out here.
No, it wouldn't. And Miguel Araujo looking to try and take Ayrton Reutemann, two of the quickest drivers out here tonight. They're looking to follow in the footsteps of Alan Moffat and Mark Scafie, who are the most successful drivers around Oran Park in the V8 Supercars Championship. We're not in the V8 Supercars tonight. We're in a very different machine, the Volkswagen Jetta. And these guys still looking to provide the action. All lapping very similar, all in the 117s, with Miguel Araujo actually in the 116.8, so he's lapping slightly quicker. David Ziwak has pulled into pit lane, unfortunately, so he will not be playing a further part, it seems, in the battling with Tim State. 1 second lead for Pedro Mora, and he's not dropping Evandro Dantas, that's for sure. Kilhavy in third, and it's Reutemann Araujo. We are on board with Miguel Araujo, Villarreal, then in 6th, then it's State, Spetranev, and of course David Ziwak, who we did just say came into the pit lane. And once again, you can see Ayrton Reutemann looking to pounce over the Okama Bridge and in towards turn number 6, 7, and 8. Ayrton Reutemann really good around this circuit, really good in all AMX Zero races this season. That's why he's getting himself into the spots that he is.
So here we go, now the battle heating up between Reutemann and Kulavi. So we can see from that beautiful cam shot now on board with Reutemann. He's looking at every single opportunistic move that he can have. I think right here, he's going to just try and be a little bit patient, try to get as close as he can. As now coming out of the final turn, now going into lap number 9, we'll see Ayrton Reutemann, like we mentioned earlier, these cars don't have a lot of draft going on. They don't have a lot of downforce, so really relying on all that mechanical grip. But here we go. Let's see as he peeks to the inside now. Reutemann looking to the inside over Kulavi. Will he be able to make it stick? It looks like so far he has this one in the bag. Going turns 1, turn 2 right there. Beautiful move. That is just absolute textbook passing right there, Evan.
Yeah, brilliant overtake. Absolute excellence. These guys are putting on a show here in the final laps of AMX Zero Season 5. And Ayrton Reutemann in 3rd, Kilhavy 4th, Araujo in 5th. Still going to fight up towards the right-handers. It's a bit of an error for Reutemann in through the champion curve, but he is just ahead of Gaston Kilhavy. Battle for the race win not over either, and the winner of this, of course, will pick up a nice $5 for their troubles. Free entry to the AMX Zero Championship. Of course, can't enter it anymore for Season 5, unfortunately, because that is what the finale means. It's the last race, but make sure you keep your eyes peeled for Season 6 on amxrace.com, as you can really just see the bumps and the curbs and the corners here in Oran Park, and just how difficult they are to tackle while riding on board with Ayrton Reutemann. You can see how difficult it truly is. But Miguel Araujo now has a difficult move to make on Gaston Kilhavy down in towards the sweeper for the 10th of 12 times. Doesn't look like there'll be a move on here. Just a little bit far behind.
And so now looking at the timing screen, seeing David Givok out of the race. He has since retired, but I know he's one of those drivers that we may be seeing getting ready for the AMX20 race. Like I said, I know there's a lot of drivers that usually try to do both races per day, but with it being the finale, there's a lot of people out there trying to put it to David Todd, who has been doing amazing out there for the AMX20 races. So he pretty much has it in the bag, but we'll have to catch up with those drivers later. Like I mentioned, we'll have to see how many drivers didn't show up for the AMX Zero race that usually do, but I know definitely AMX20, a lot more on the line, a lot more points, a lot more money. Definitely some of the best pro drivers in the world. So absolutely looking forward to what we're going to see out there, especially in the GT3 out at Spa. Going to be one of the best car combination in, I'd say, all of sim racing as well as real life racing, Evan.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. I think it's going to be thoroughly entertaining action. We've still got a couple more laps of action here at Oran Park Raceway, so don't go anywhere just yet, folks, as Pedro Mora is in the race lead. Here comes Gaston Kilhavy. Oh, sorry, here comes Miguel Araujo, I should say. Looking to get past Gaston Kilhavy, and Araujo now has the inside line in towards the sweeper, but he's not able to get the move stick. Great late braking from Kilhavy. Broke a lot later than Araujo and didn't really compromise his run through the corner. That's very excellent stuff by the Argentine. It is Brazil 1-2, Argentina 3-4. It's almost like a Copa America fixture here at the top of heat number 2. Then Araujo's in 5th, Villarreal 6th State, and then of course Petronev and Ziwak, who had their troubles throughout this evening's action. But Mora looking good at the front. Kilhavy is looking to keep 4th and maybe even 3rd if he gets a good run onto this final lap. There's not many overtaking zones into this final sector, bar maybe the final corner, but Reutemann looking steady in 3rd.
And you can just hear those tires just screeching, absolutely trying to grasp for any little bit of grip that is left in the tires. And it's not entirely too warm out here, but like we said, you know, right now it's still about 32 degrees. Well, I guess, yeah, about 32 degrees. It is quite warm out here. But we'll have to see if that's playing into these. I know the front-wheel drive cars, the biggest thing is try to not overcook those tires, getting onto that throttle too soon, going into some of these corners. Definitely a bit of understeer from these, but now with the white flag flying, it's still Pedro Mora, Evandro Dantas, and Ayrton Reutemann, your top 3.
No move from Araujo, or is there a move from Araujo? Because Kilhavy has ran a little bit wide, and Gaston, who has fought at the top of AMX for so long, is looking to keep behind one of the newcomers here in the form of Miguel Araujo. Araujo takes a lot of curb there, heading through turn number 3. That might compromise his run through 4 and up the bridge, potentially. This is where Kilhavy's been a little bit slow, but he seems to be all good for now. Araujo is going to struggle to make the move stick through this final sector, and it seems like Kilhavy is just making it work at the right times. Pedro Mora heading through the final sector as well. He'll round off this AMX Zero campaign with a win. Ayrton Reutemann in 3rd will officially be crowned your champion of AMX Zero as they're heading through the final sector for the final time, up towards the final couple of corners of the O'Brien Aluminium dogleg, in towards the Recaro corner. Here is Pedro Mora across the line to take the race win. Here is Kilhavy and Miguel Araujo. Is Araujo able to get the run? He is not. Kilhavy will take 4th. Ayrton Reutemann will become AMX Zero champion in 3rd. What cracking evening of racing though it is. Mora, Dantas, Reutemann, Kilhavy, Araujo, your top 5.
I'd say that's a great way to be ending the season out here for AMX Zero. We've seen a lot of newcomers come in here, show what they can do to put it down, as well as a lot of veterans be at the top of the leaderboards as well. But like we said, all in all, it's going to be a great one, a great ultimate opener for our grand finale out here. And once again, things already heating up for AMX Zero. If these drivers are pushing this hard just in AMX Zero in some of the slower cars, I can't wait to see what's going to happen once we get to the GT3s.
It was a brilliant couple of heats, that. A smaller car around a smaller, forgotten track, and it really provided. But your BenQ session winner and fastest lap taker for heat number 2 is Pedro Mora. Evandro Dantas in 2nd, with Ayrton Reutemann in 3rd. Thumbs up from Pedro Mora. Fourth will be Gaston Calhavi, Miguel Araujo in fifth, Diogo Villarreal in sixth, with Tim Stade in seventh, and Felipe Spetronev in eighth, and David Ziwak in ninth. We hope to see all 9 of them in the AMX20 race coming up. There's your prize pool on the right hand side that these guys have won once again, but it is Ayrton Reisman who will round out the AMX Zero season as champion, and a really good job by the Argentine. But great way to round off AMX Zero, I think, Kevin, as you have hinted to throughout the night so far.
Yeah, definitely. And just seeing everyone still out there in the Twitch chat, just cheering on Pedro. Huge congratulations. Like I said, I know a lot of people out there constantly cheering on the Delinta Esports team, and that's one more for Pedro Moura, one more for the Delinta Esports team, and one more for Brazil. So we'll have to see if they're able to keep the theme running. Like I said, out in AMX20, we currently have David Toth with a significant lead in points, and looking like he may very well be walking out here today a champion for that. But like we said, as well for AMX20, make sure everyone stick around in the chat as well. We have that next level racing gear giveaway coming up there. So on our Twitch, 7 p.m. GMT, which is probably about 18 minutes away. So definitely don't go anywhere. But I'd have to say, Evan, what was your highlight of this race going on today at AMX Zero?
I think Evandro Dantas and Diogo Villarreal's little tussle in Heat 1 was quite fun. But I think the big highlight was some of the brilliant moves that these guys made, because overtaking is not easy at Oran Park. And going over the bridge especially, one of the difficult corners, and there were some great moves made, and a job well done by those guys. But that does round out our AMX Zero action. Don't go anywhere. Stick around in the chat as well, folks. We'll be talking to you during the break. Make sure you stay, because AMX20, if it wasn't as good as it has been, it's just got even better. We're going to have a brilliant evening here in Spa-Francorchamps coming up in a few moments. If you're bored during the break, make sure to check out all our social media channels. But we will have prizes, we will have racing, we'll have 2 brilliant commentators, if I do say so myself. But we will have a lot coming up, folks, in a couple of moments. Do not go anywhere. We will be back for AMX20 GT3s at Spa-Francorchamps. We'll see you then.
into the carousel immediately. He gets punted off. That was Saavedra. Aguilar, he's gone off. He's been tapped, and he's into the barriers. Oh, the rejoin! Oh,
and
no!
Dean. Oh, Pedro, Dean.
Oh, Chris Lawler does have the inside track for the Swiss left. If he's able to make that pass happen, he might be able to cut away Victorino. He does make that pass, and he makes it clean, and they're coming to the right hand, and this is it. Chris Lawler seizes the opportunity and makes it. And just as the end, the rain comes to put a pin onto the end of the race, and Chris Lawler takes it.
Big Miranda, Pedro Zuma into the wall.
It's actually Valero. Valero's actually gone off into the barriers, coming up to the cutting.
David Todd making his way back up, has already climbed 7 positions.
Oh, it's supposed to be soon there. Sandy goes up.
So right now, this is going to be where it's going to get shaken up. David Todd passes them while they are in the pit through the mountain straight now, going 3 wide.
Oh my word, that is probably one of the best shows of the entire season.
So we have 3-way battle going to the most dangerous turn of the mountain. Up the mountain, we have contact right there. These guys going absolutely crazy. It's going to come down to the final corner, Murray's corner. Who is going to have to lead? We may have a drag race to the finish line on our hands, folks. You see David Todd right now going into the pit lane.
We go racing for heat number 1 here in Austria. For AMX20 in towards the nicking outer curve, bumping and banging and into the wall. That is a horrible crash. That's a huge lunge from Gaston Kalami, and he's made contact with, I believe, oh no, wow, it's a chaotic moment here. And slipstream in front, very the car, and you can just see Beto Silva pushing Florian Lamigra right over.
Here we go then, Valeri, he looks left, he looks right, he's got to choose the right hand side, which is the inside going into turn 3.
Here it is. This is the crucial moment in this race. It's looking like it's only going one way. David Dott is going to take the race lead. Heading into the second half of the season, the Hungarian of David Dott has driven a masterclass here with the early pit stop. Not the ideal strategy, but an ideal race winner and an excellent performance.
To save our home, we must travel through the gateway to find new energy.
it all comes down to this. The season finale for AMX Season 5. It is race 48, AMX20, here in the famous Ardennes Forest that has been known for motorsport throughout its existence on this fine planet. And what a combination of car and track we have. It is GT3 machines around Belgium's finest racing facility. My name's Evan Dalton. It's a pleasure to be with you once again, and alongside me is Kevin Garcia. Kevin, this is going to be good.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is really what we've been waiting for all season long. I mean, AMX20 really just took that AMX racing to that next level. We've had some of the top professional racing drivers, both from the real world and in the sim out here, the top level esports teams coming out here and putting it down in AMX20 all season long.
Well, tonight in AMX20 we have some top names, some returning names, and we have some of iRacing's best ready to showcase their talents here tonight. And remember, of course, folks, to check out one of our social media channels, and remember to head over to our Twitch chat. We'll be talking about that in a moment. Qualifying will be getting underway shortly, but before that, me and Kevin, of course, have to run you through a couple of housekeeping rules and then discuss the fabulous track and car combinations we have on display for you here. The final race of AMX20. So the AMX Sim Racing World Championship, it started in what seems not long ago, May 25th, and it ends here tonight on August 18th. $15,000 and next level racing prizes will be given out once this evening's race has concluded. AMX20 race format, you're well used to it by now if you're a regular viewer, but if you're not, 20-minute qualifier, and it's a top 15 reverse grid, and we have a 30-minute heat number 1, top 15 reverse grid, and then a 30-minute heat number 2. Prize amounts for every standing are the same for every single session. Driver cams are required for this one, of course, and balances over $100 are paid out each month. Racing on Saturdays and Sundays we have for the duration of Season 5. If you want to get ready to race in Season 6, you can do so by checking out amxrace.com. Our schedule then for today, of course, it is 4 minutes past 7 GMT, which means, according to that schedule, it is time for AMX20. AMX Zero racing at 5:50 PM GMT earlier. The schedule will remain mostly the same for Season 6, of course, but of course, if you want to get up to date on that, you can either join our Discord server or check out amxrace.com. The AMX20 race prize pool then. You managed to become the quickest driver in qualifying, just like Kieran Harrison was last time in Silverstone. You pick yourself up $60, and the same for winning a heat, 40 for second, then 36 for third, 32 for fourth, 28 for fifth, 24 for sixth, 20 for seventh, then it's 18 for eighth, 16 for ninth, 14 for 10th, and it is 12, 10, 8, 6, and 4. And of course, in the race, you pick up a fastest lap bonus of $8. You do need 4,000 road iRacing to race in this championship, but the total that can be won per race, or the total that's given out per race, I should say rather, is $1,000. And of course, it is the ever fabulous David Thought that is the top of the order here in AMX20. In second place, you have Gael Valero, then Thomas Simon rising to third after Silverstone, Zuba falling to fourth. Bruno De Carmo then in fifth. Some Bruno De Carmo fans in the Twitch chat that we can see. Dino Filippo rising 7 positions to 6th after Silverstone. Juan Blainat in 7th. Tobias Soriano in 8th. Pedro Dean in 9th. And Marcos Saavedra in 10th position. And then, of course, the NLR Gear giveaway, running tonight throughout this evening's AMX20 action. You can win a monitor stand, a GT Lite Pro setup, a wheel stand, or a K&M stand. We're giving away 2 of them. What you got to do if you want to enter, you need to watch this AMX race on Twitch. So apologies if you are watching on YouTube. Get yourself over to the Twitch chat, type /AMX and where you are watching from. A couple of you have been doing it already, but make sure !AMX and where you are watching from. The winners will be announced on Wednesday, August 21st on the official AMX Instagram at amx.global. So we'll keep reminding you that throughout tonight. It is !AMX and where you are watching from. Someone watching from me, Simri. And of course, Season 6. A couple of you were asking about Season 6 in the stream chat earlier. We'll have new formats, we'll have endurance races, and we will have multiple tiers coming very, very soon. And I'm going to give you a little bit of inside information here, folks. This is just a little bit of a teaser for you all. At the end of Season 6, we will have potentially one of the biggest events to ever happen in the history of AMX. Some of the biggest prizes and some of the biggest races. We'll keep that between ourselves, folks. That's a little bit of a hint for you. Season 6 is going to be absolutely amazing. What's also going to be amazing is these GT3 cars around Spa-Francorchamps, and I'm going to hand it over to Kevin to take you through them.
Oh, thanks, Evan. And I feel like this is a bit of deja vu from last season's championship. Of course, we're back here at the world-famous Spa-Francorchamps, one of the most well-known, and I'd say probably has become definitely my top track to watch out here at AMX. Of course, located in Stavlo, Belgium, opened back in 1921. So been open for over 100 years. One of the few racetracks that had their centennial recently, and its length right now about 7 kilometers just over, and for all my fellow Americans, that's 4.35 miles out there. So still definitely quite a long track, but quite a fast track, especially in the cars that we're going to be running out here today. Like you mentioned it, that is going to be the GT3 cars. So definitely, I'd say at this point, some of the bread and butter of iRacing, as well as just all sim racing currently. And looking at the timing screen already, looks like we have quite a few Ferraris out there. So everyone loving that. But most of these cars, the entire car class, range from about 500 to 600 horsepower. Of course, being put down by those rear wheels. And they only come in at about 1,200 to 1,300 kilos. So just over a ton for these cars. And going all through them, flappy paddles, the sequential gearbox, of course, for all of them. But like I said, out here so far, it is looking almost like it's a Ferrari class by itself. Of course, a lot of these drivers, we do run fixed setups out here. That way, we want to make sure it comes down to the drivers themselves, not who has the best setups, but purely who has the best driver skill. And Evan, I have a great feeling about what's going to be out here today. If it's anything like last season's championship out here at Spa, I know there's going to be quite a bit of drama.
Yeah, we ended the season last year here in Belgium, and it was absolute mental scenes. We had crazy drama, and I imagine this is going to be very similar. We have a grid of 20 drivers here tonight. Every single one of them is in the Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo, the bi-turbo V8 550 brake horsepower. And it is going to be really, really interesting. We're going to be heading into qualifying shortly, folks, and currently quickest of the order is Roman Pascucci. So you might remember him from last season, Roman, who finished P11 overall. He did finish 6th in the NASCAR Championship. The Italian driver had one evening win, so he's trying it something different from the curves of Daytona Speedway, and he's here at the long circuit at Spa-Francorchamps. We are 9 minutes and 40 seconds into a 20-minute qualifying. This is an Argentine 1-2-3.
And still seeing everyone out there in chat. It's great seeing where everyone is tuning in from. And for all of those of you tuning in live as well, you can scan the QR code that pops up on the screen occasionally. You'll be able to see all of the live timing information that we're seeing out here in the booth. Well, like you said right here, we're on board currently with Peter Zuba, who took home the last season's finale race. So we'll see if he's able to do it out here. Of course, last time we were out in the GTP cars, and of course, the rain came in and shook everything up. But right now, it's looking pretty clear skies so far. Only about 25 degrees out there, 77 degrees Fahrenheit for my fellow Americans. So definitely a lot cooler air temps, cooler track temps out there as well. Only 39 degrees on the track temp. So I expect these guys to be setting some blazing fast lap times. Of course, out here at Spa, most notably known for the 24 Hours of Spa recently in both real life as well as on iRacing, where Team Redline took home the 1-2, first and second place going to Team Redline. So we'll have to see how things end up out here today, Evan.
Yes, we will have to see how it ends up. We have a lot of quick drivers here we used to and raced in that 24 hour. One driver who I thought was very intriguing to see his name back in the order was Quarantine Inez, a man who dominated AMX Season 3. We're looking at Thomas Simondo. He had a man... He had a man... No, let's try it again. He had a brilliant race in Silverstone is what I was going to say. And he managed to jump up the order. Running the VR headset is Tomassimo. Here is Matteo Victorino. He is... or I was going to say he's the new driver here tonight. You will know him if you're in the iRacing scene. Won a WGTC race for Impulse Racing in July of 2023. But he's new here to AMX20, I believe. He's currently going quickest in the third sector. The purple sectors indicate quickest overall. Green is improving on your personal best, and then yellow means no good. You gotta go again, not improving. Here is Victorino though, in towards the bus stop chicane, the famous bus stop chicane, up and across the start finish line. Let's see where this qualifying lap goes.
Right here now, looking at the timing screen as well. There's a lot of drivers. Like I said, majority of drivers looking like they're less than a second all the way up through the top 14 drivers. Less than a second separating all of them, as well as less than half a second separating our top 7 drivers. But we're only 12 minutes into this 20-minute qualifying session, so that can definitely change up as we go along out here. Still, Roman Pascucci with the 217.294, absolutely blazing lap out here. Still only about 100th off behind him, Marco Saavedra. So it looks like a lot of the Argentine drivers out here on top of the podium so far. We'll see if they're able to keep that going into heats number 1 and 2.
Yeah, current order is Roman Pascucci, Marco Salvador, Juan Blenat, then it is Quarantine Guinness, David Tot, then it is Matteo Victorino, then it is Aguirre, Soriano, Simon, De Carmo, Resinja, Valero, Kilhavi, Reutemann, Mora and Zuba. Your top 18 with no lap on the board from David Zuak just yet. Here's Gael Valero, who Kevin and Amir were speaking to last night, as he was crowned AMX5 champion. Last season he was the winner overall. He was the winner in AMX10. He was the winner in AMX10 GT. He is the overall leader and the overall champion once again here in AMX Season 5. But he's looking to cement himself a second place finish at least here in AMX20 and pick himself up another nice prize pool. Here he comes up towards the start finish line. Is this an improvement upon Gael's lap? It will be. He'll jump up to 9th Frenchman, and not necessarily where you usually see Gael Valero, but that goes to show just how difficult this grid is to succeed in.
Yeah, and just as a reminder out here in these cars, we are running the fixed setups out here today for the GT3 class. As such, we've been running them all season long. So I know that's definitely come into play out here. Looking, I'll trust all of the top drivers out here. Like I said, a lot of these guys, professional sim racers, knowing that the fixed setup, the Ferraris being the quickest out here around the track. But when we look back at the official iRacing 24 Hours of Spa, most of the drivers in that one were running the BMWs. Of course, a lot of balance of power can change throughout time. iRacing constantly updating that. But for today, definitely looking like everyone, very equal machinery, quite literally the exact same car out here today. So now seen on board with Jackson Asenge, one of the team Delinte Esports drivers. Of course, Delinte Esports, most notably known because of Tony Kanaan. That's right. We've seen a lot of other series. I've kind of hopped in with some of their streams as well from time to time just to see how things are going, as well as everyone's social media. Speaking of social media, guys, make sure you are following our AMX social media on Instagram, where we will be announcing the giveaway that is still going on right now. Of course, like Evan mentioned earlier, type in exclamation AMX and where you are from. I've seen a few people out there saying they're watching from my closet, so I'm gonna have to go in there and check in my closet, see how the heck you guys got in. Gonna have to update my security around here, I guess.
Please get out of Kevin's closet, folks. To enjoy the race from the comfort of your own home. Bruno De Carmo goes to 7th position. I saw a die-hard Bruno De Carmo fan in the chat as well, saying he's the nicest hair in the organisation. I'm sure that'll be debated, but Bruno De Carmo currently 7th here in qualifying. Juan Blenat in 3rd, you can see heading up towards the bus stop chicane. The bus stop chicane that was refurbished, of course, after the track repairs in 2006. And here is Juan Blenat just rounding through that final corner. I think he's more getting ready to go on a lap rather than start one. It is a very long lap here in these GT3 cars, 2 minutes and 17. So although we only have a 30-minute heat, we won't get an awful lot of laps around this track. But the drivers will have to make their moves stick when it counts. It'll be not a short format race, but a shorter format given the 30 minutes. Matteo Victorino, purple in the second sector, but wasn't improving in the rest of them. So keep an eye on him in his next couple of laps, final laps here in qualifying. Ethan Reutemann as well, no improvements there for him. He was quick in earlier's AMX Zero race. Make sure to go back and watch that one after we're finished here tonight, folks. Still no lap from David Ziwak, but he is out on track now.
And speaking of Juan Blenat, yesterday he was out here in the AMX5 race, putting it down in the GT4 cars, coming away with the winner. Like we said, we had some last-minute drama out at Sebring, of course, one of the most well-known American tracks, so that was such a fitting end for our AMX5 races. Another great track that is well-known internationally, of course, running endurance races there as well. But it was Juan Blenat ultimately able to get fastest in qualifying and win heat number 1 and 2. So I know definitely from that, putting him back out here in the GT3 cars, I expect that he has a very good chance of getting podium, as he's still third place in qualifying. But right now we have just under 3 minutes left to go in this qualifying, so these drivers may have about one more chance to get in a lap if they want to shoot for that top spot out here in qualifying.
Here is Roman Pascucci, one evening win in Season 4, had 9 session wins and 3 fastest laps, so he knows his way around a one-lap shootout. Here he is heading in towards the turn number 19 and turn number 20 bus stop chicane. Let's see what he can do. It's a fabulous livery in the number 23. I gotta give it that. That is a fabulous looking Ferrari, and he has a very similar one following behind. Here is Pascucci up and across the line. Will it be an improvement for Roman? I don't think it will. It will be an improvement for Tobias Soriano. He jumps to third, beating Juan Blenat. These are the final laps of the session for these guys. Here is Thomas Simon down in 11th. He is looking to improve. Here is Quentin Guinez, a man who we know how excellent he is in AMX. Rounding through the bus stop, Blenat improves to third. Where can the Frenchman go? Can he break the Argentine stronghold here? He will, and the Frenchman does beat the Argentines here. It's up and across the line. Guinez is quickest in qualifying, 2:17.204. Still a minute and a half to go. That could be beaten.
So absolutely amazing driving out there from Quentin Guinez, like we've seen time and time again, especially out there. And now I say that Marcos Saavedra up in that ante up there now, a 2:17.156. So Evan, the battle is definitely on. These guys getting in there the last final lap, and it is getting shaken up once again. So now Quentin Guinez, Marcos Saavedra up top. Now we have Saavedra first, Guinez second, Pascucci in third. So we'll have to see once again from qualifying all the way through heat 1 and 2. I expect this is how the race is going to go, back and forth the entire time.
Here is your championship leader, David Tot. He's not really been improving upon this lap, but he's getting a nice slipstream from the car in front. That is Peter Zuba, his fellow Hungarian, who is towing him round through Blanchimont and in towards the bus stop chicane, and Zuba's going to pull out of the way. That's a brilliant slipstream. Brilliant teamwork by Peter Zuba. David Tot in towards the final corner now, and into the pit lane he goes. So Peter Zuba's efforts will matter not. There's Thomas Simon pulled off at Blanchimont, so no improvement there for him. De Carmo has found a personal best in the third sector. No improvements in any of the sectors from up by Jackson Resenge, and everyone else just heading into the pit lane. Don't even think they'll get up and across the line as they head into the bus stop chicane. There's only 4 seconds left, and it doesn't seem like they will be able to finish their laps, even though they got there. So it will be Marcos Saavedra who wins the shootout against the Frenchman. The Argentine will be your BenQ session winner for qualifying.
And I'm looking in chat now, seeing a few of the drivers out there in chat along with everyone else. Seeing Pedro Dean out there, who of course he's racing with us today, as well as his brother Vinicius Dean. But there we go, like we said, Marcos Saavedra in that top spot, able to take it back on the last lap, last couple minutes. Second place, Quentin Guinez. Third, Roman Pascucci. Fourth, Juan Blenat. Fifth, Tobias Soriano. Sixth, David Toth, the current leader. Seventh place, we have Matthew Victorino, who also coming out here, another newer person to AMX, showing that he still has pace with the best of the best. 8th place, Bruno De Carmo. 9th place, Santiago Aguiar. 10th, Gael Valero. 11th, Tomas Simon. 12th, Jackson SNJ. 13th, Ruben Llorente. 14th, Pedro Dean. And rounding out our top 15 grid, Gaston Kulavi. So unfortunately, we have a few drivers not making that reverse grid, the likes of Peter Zuba, David Gibach, and Ayrton Reutemann. So we'll have to see a lot of these guys out there. Evan, definitely a stacked grid out here today. Do you have any predictions of who you think might be coming out with this heat number 1?
Keep an eye on Valero, keep an eye on Simon in the reverse grid. Keep an eye, obviously, on those who are quickest in qualifying. Salvador Guinez, keep an eye on Juan Blenat as well. But we will get ready for the rolling start here at Spa-Francorchamps. Marcos Saavedra, the man who was quickest in qualifying, the Argentine racer, the road set builder at Ryco, and formerly an Infinite Racing Services. He has raced in the Interliga Latin America, the simracing championship. Probably butchered that, apologies. But he's a man with a lot of prestige. Here's your grid then. Kulhavi Dean, the front row. Lorente Resenje, 3rd and 4th. Simon, 5th, sorry, apologies. Valero then in 6th position. Then a little bit further down in 7th is Bruno De Carmo. Matteo Victorino is behind him. And it is David Costas. We get ready for the rolling start. Should be a very interesting one here in Spa-Francorchamps. The circuit first used in Formula 1 in 1950. That race was won by an Argentine, on Manuel Fangio, but the circuit's history dates back to 1925 actually, so no longer than Formula 1. When these guys get to the white and black stripe across the main straight, they'll have a 270 meter run down towards the apex of La Source, the first corner, and then the run for the famous Radillon en Eau Rouge section. The local village of Spa here has actually been popular since the 9th century for the healing properties of its water. There's where you get the name Spa. So there you go, there is a connection in all the Instagram memes. But here we go then, it's going to be starting the final Heat 1 of AMX20. Kulhavi and Dean alongside each other on the front row as they accelerate out of the bus stop. We go racing here in Belgium. It's a great start from Gaston Kulhavi. He leads in towards La Source.
Well, a great start right there from a lot of our drivers. So far, we have one incident already. Looking like that is Pedro Dean. So Pedro Dean sitting on that front row now, unfortunately getting into an incident, as well as a few other drivers there towards the back. That looks like that may be Quentin Guinez losing his front bumper. Tomas Simon, Bruno De Carmo sitting there in the back. So immediately onto turn 1, we have chaos right away. So we knew it was going to be a crazy race. There's someone else looking like they're getting sent off. Man, this is just absolute carnage all the way around out here, Evan.
Yes, the championship leader, David Toth, has gone off. It was Toth, Guinez, De Carmo, as well as Simon. So 4 big names here in AMX20 who have already gone off. Pedro Dean involved in it as well. Matteo Victorino in 30. Now it seems like there was another spinner heading through this corner. That's Ayrton Reutemann. The AMX Zero ace took the championship earlier in that one, and he is now down to 18th position. So Kulhavi and Resenje leading at the front, Gael Valero in 3rd, Ruben Lorente Jr. in 4th, ahead of Tobias Soriano in 5th. Then it's Blenat, Pascucci, Zuba, Ziwak, Saavedra at your top 10. Then it is Pedro Mora, Victorino, Aguirre, Dean, De Carmo, Toth. Then 3 cars currently in the pit lane for repairs is Quentin Guinez, Tomas Simon and Ayrton Reutemann. Gael Valero immediately trying to take a foothold in this race. He's all over the rear wing of Jackson Resenje.
And now, I mean, just looking at that start, I may see I guess that's sometimes why you see some of these other guys start going down the hill. So just depending on the track layout, that may affect where these drivers get the green flag, start heading out. But out here, yes, absolutely just chaos from so many great drivers out here. A lot of top drivers, like we said, David Toth being in there. A lot of these guys still in the pits, but it's looking like we're going to go to a full screen replay to see what happened at the beginning of this race. So there we see we had Gaston Kulavi going in, Pedro Dean looking like just cut in the corner, and right behind, getting tapped right on that rear quarter panel, and unfortunately just getting sent into a spin, and these drivers behind him had nowhere to go, trying to get out of the way, and that just collected up another 3 drivers right there going off the track. So just like that, we had the race. Some of these guys sitting at the front of the heat number 1, sitting on the grid, as well as their Quentin Guinness. Now they're seeing his bumper getting flown off as he goes into someone else. And like we said, just absolute carnage going in through turn number 1.
Yeah, big collision at the first corner. Nothing unusual to the local authorities here. The first lap crash in 1998's Formula 1 Grand Prix cost $13 million US of damage. I don't think we've got that amount, but certainly a big crash nonetheless. Jackson Resenje hounding down Gaston Kilhavy for the race lead. Gael Valero in 3rd, with Ruben Lorente just 6 tenths of a second behind in 4th. But these top 3 are very close. Remember, here in AMX20, folks, 1 mandatory pit stop is necessary. You got to serve it. You don't necessarily have to get a service, but you do got to pull into the pit lane, into the box, out of the box, and continue on with your day. And that can be a big talking point in the race. Of course, you might remember from Silverstone, Giovanni Vecchio. He had a bit of a misfortune in the pit lane, and it didn't register, and that caused him a bit of trouble. So you can have your pit stop decide your race. But for now, the biggest gainer in the field, well, there's a few of them. 8 spots gained for Scucci, 8 for Zuba, 8 for Ziwak, and 8 for Pedro Mora. Biggest loss, unfortunately, Pedro Dean.
Here we go. So now back onto lap number 2. Things are already looking a lot cleaner than lap number 1. But right now we're seeing an incident there in the picture-in-picture replay from Ayrton Reutemann, just getting a little bit of door-to-door contact, and just like that, that's all it takes for these drivers. Sometimes get a little bit stuck together and end up going off the track. So right there, quite a bit of damage, as he will have to head back to the pits as well. But right now, on board with Jackson Asenje, holding off Gael Valero. These two have battled it out time and time again throughout the seasons out here at AMX. Most notably, this season we were out at Interlagos in the Formula 3 cars, where these guys were putting on an absolute great show. But we see there Asenje going into the pits, followed by Llorente as well. So few drivers already going in to make those mandatory pit stops.
Yeah, Jackson Resenje, 3rd in AMX GT last season, 6th over all 3 session wins and 2 fastest laps. So the Brazilian driver knows how to do well in AMX, and this is a strategical call he is making as he feels it's best fit to try and win the opening heat of 2 here in AMX20. We're looking at Tobias Soriano flying up Radignon, and Juan Blanat is right behind him, heading down towards the right-hander. You can see Gael Valera putting Gaston Kilhavy under a boatload of pressure as well. And Gael Valera pulls stick. Yes, he is. Valero is ahead of Gaston Kilhavy. And that's a great move from the Frenchman, from the double champ. He's up and ahead.
So there we see just exactly why Gael Valero has been sitting in 2nd place in overall points out for AMX20, as well as taking home back-to-back championships in other categories. So definitely we'll have to keep an eye on Gael Valero if he's able to hold off Gaston Kilhavy. But Kilhavy, one of the Argentine drivers out here, as well as Juan Blanat, who yesterday had the last-minute win in Heat 2. A lot of drama going on there. Make sure if you didn't catch that race live that you guys go back to watch the season finale of AMX 5 after this race. So definitely not going to put any of these guys out of contention yet for that top spot. Like we've seen yesterday and we've seen all season long, quite literally anything can happen, especially considering that some of these guys still needed to take their mandatory pit stop. So when they take it, may make or break their race right there. We've seen a few people, like you mentioned, either get penalties or just not have their pit stop register. So we'll have to see. Guys have to play it very smart out here. The strategy coming into play just as much as driver skill.
Yeah, Juan Blanat looking to attack Tobias Soriano in towards the left-hander here at Blanchimont. And Pascucci just sitting right behind as well, as it's Argentine dominance near the front bar, of course, the race leader. But lap 3 of 13, the leader of the pitters is Jackson Resenje. Anyone below him has made 1 pit stop. And then, of course, Guinness, Reutemann and Simon had to go back for a service because, well, their cars were in smithereens. Lap 4 of 13 here, quickest lap of the race so far does belong to Juan Blanat. That's a 2:17.701. It's a very long lap here, hence why we only have 13 laps covered in 13 minutes. 4 of them done now. Great to see so many of you entering our giveaway, of course, in the chat. Just got to type / or exclamation mark AMX and then where you are watching from, your home place, or if you're on holiday even tuning into AMX, make sure to let us know as well. And of course, any questions from myself and Kevin, feel free to ask. Tobias Soriano is asking questions of Gaston Kilhavy, and he's looking to fish it around the outside, as is Juan Blainat on Gaston Kilhavy, and there goes Blainat. That's a brilliant move by Juan. He's up into third.
Just right there, like we see, that's why we've seen him win so much this season. No matter the car, he comes out and puts it down on track. So Kulavi has his work cut out for him if he's going to want to get back up onto podium contention. But still, those guys battling it out has now left over a second gap for Gael Valero to start walking away just a little bit. So Toby Soriano will also have his work cut out if he wants to get anywhere near that top spot. We can see now Pascucci flashing the lights, trying to distract him maybe a little bit, just saying, all right, I'm coming for that position. Let's go. Kulavi now trying to defend off for his life. Will he be able to do it side by side? Here we go. Pascucci able to overtake him beautifully. And now, unfortunately, Kulavi is feeling the pressure. He's back down into 5th place.
So Roman Pascucci ahead of fellow countryman Gaston Kilhavy, and Pascucci in a great position here in 4th. On lap 4, heading on towards lap number 5. Gael Valero starting to stretch his legs at the front of this one. 1.1 ahead of Tobias Soriano. A little bit further down the field, Marcos Saavedra and David Ziwak might be going fighting. Jackson Mersenje still the leader of your pitters by 3.3 seconds ahead of Ruben Lorente Jr. He is doing a mighty fine job indeed, almost catching the non-pitters already here in this one, and that's crucial. Needs to work the clean air work, good strategy. Some weeks we see late pit stops that work, some weeks we see very early pit stops. Jackson Mersenje trying the early stop, see if that can work later on in the race. Despite that gap being pulled by Gael Valero, Tobias Soriano 4 tenths of a second quicker on that last lap, so he is catching the Frenchman at the front of the field.
One thing looking out here, so I mean, we see a lot of these guys out here. We said strategy is going to come into play huge out at Spa. One of the big things that's a little bit harder to notice maybe on camera is sometimes we see a lot of these guys talking to their teammates, possibly their spotter if they have on their team. But I've seen out there in chat from Vinicius Dean, who of course has raced with us time and time again out here, is not out here on track with Pedro Dean today, but definitely we'll have to see if Vinny, if you're out there watching, if he is indeed helping coach his brother, helping spot for him. I know a lot of these guys, like we said, it is so helpful to have the man in your ear, being able to tell you whenever you're having other drivers just how your laps are going, be able to do all of the thinking for you and let you just run your race.
Yes, it's very helpful to have some form of spotter or engineer or something on your crew. But these guys know their way around this fabulous GT3 racing car. The entire field in the Ferraris, of course, if you missed the start of the stream. So it is as even as you can get around Spa-Francorchamps. And we are really seeing how close it is because of that, actually. There's no car differentiation. In the GTEs in Silverstone, we saw some cars arguably better than others. So I'm actually quite delighted for the season finale that we have got our own version of balance of performance here out on track. And looking at Tobias Soriano, he's quickest in that third sector than Gael Valero, but the gap has remained almost identical since the last time they crossed the start-finish line and in towards La Source. At 5 of 13 here, we're not even halfway through this race yet, still plenty of time to go.
And just looking out here, so like we said, unfortunately, our current points leader for AMX20 getting taken out in the first lap is now sitting back in that 16th spot. So he might be trying to just get up into that top 15 reverse grid, be able to come out here in heat number 2 and take home another victory. Like we've seen, he has already gotten 3 different victories throughout this of the different heats, as well as 1 overall victory. So extremely consistent. It's unfortunate to see the top driver being set all the way in the back during this. But like we said, he'll have a lot of work now. He has to keep his eyes focused on Pedro Dean to get into that top 15 reverse grid and take home another win out in his final race of the season. But right now it is still all Gael Valero sitting in first place as we are in now lap 6 out of 13. Kobe Soriano holding on to that second place, defending off his fellow countryman Juan Blainat in third.
And towards the Le Camp chicane for the 6th time here tonight, no move on for Juan Blenat. As we look back from Tobias Soriano's car, you can see them there just heading down towards the Brussels hairpin and then in towards the left-hander, formerly known as No Name, still known as No Name, but also called the Jackie X curve, named after the great Jackie X, Belgian Formula 1 driver. You can see them all just running a little bit wide there and then towards the left here. You can see Juan Blenat's on board in the picture-in-picture. This circuit, of course, located in eastern Belgium, near the German border, and about 35 kilometers away from it is Liège, the largest city in the circuit. We're at a little bit of a stale point here in this race, folks, but don't go anywhere, because this is going to spice up once these guys have to come into the pit lane, and I imagine, Kevin, that they're going to run as long as possible.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that time and time again, that kind of being the strategy. But of course, you know, right here with some of these drivers, if they start battling it out and start losing time from Gael Valero, like we said, Gael currently sitting at just over 1 second. So if Toby Soriano and Juan Blenat don't start working together to try and catch up to the leader, we might see if one of them tries to pit early just to get a little bit of air. But then once again, once they come out of the pits, they'll nearly have to battle their way back through a lot. So I think that might be the strategy that they really are going with. Or again, they might just be looking at the leader, see, okay, when is Gael Valero going to pit? That's when I'm going to try to make my move, or maybe try to stay out on the track one more lap. Like I said, a lot of these guys, we're out here for a 30-minute race, not really quite enough time for that tire degradation to really be coming into play, but definitely the over-under. We'll have to see if anyone tries to undercut anyone, if anyone tries to go for the overcut. We'll just have to wait and see, as now about half of our drivers have since hit their mandatory pit stop.
And here is Juan Blenat looking to attack Tobias Soriano down towards the Lacombe chicane. Blenat, who was third last season in the AMX rear-wheel driven championship, he's going for the move here in AMX20, or is he? Lifts off before Lacombe and doesn't go for the move. He is obviously liking the situation he's in behind Soriano, using that slipstream, using the tow to maybe get a bit of fuel economy, maybe just able to save the car, not really working too hard. And he is just going to stay behind Soriano for the time being. I'm surprised at that one, in all honesty. Thought he would have went the move and tried to chase after Gael Valero.
Yeah, it looked almost like Juan Blenat had a bit of just a bump draft right there. It looked like he was just barely touching the rear bumper of Toby Soriano. So I think right now they are trying to work together just a little bit, because they know if they try to fight each other, like what's going on for P5 is now David Givak going over Gaston Kulavi, as well as their Peter Zuba. So these guys back in the middle of the pack going on very well now. So that P6 getting overtaken now by David Givak over Gaston Kulavi. But back to what's going up at the front of the pack. Like I was mentioning, I think these guys might actually just be working together. Now they're still holding about a 1 second gap between themselves and Gael Valero. So definitely we'll see as we get back to those longer straights if Juan Blenat is going to try to make a move, or if he's going to just try and give a little bit of a push to Toby Soriano.
Let's have a look then. Heading through Blanchimont, is Blenat going to make the move? No, he's staying behind. And I imagine these two are going to try and work their pit stops around each other as well. In terms of pit stops, your current leader who has pit is Ruben Lorente. So there's been some problems for Jackson Resenge, who's fallen behind Lorente and Salvador. Here's some pitters though. It is Peter Jaws Zuba, as I have started to call him, into the pit lane, and just behind him is Gaston Kilhaby. So a handful of pitters here. Let's see where they'll come out in relation to Lorente, Salvador and Jackson Resenge, because that could be very intriguing. In relation to the undercut and Ruben Lorente, will he be ahead of Bo? I'm not sure. I think Zuba might have got him, and Zuba's at the timing screen, so the early pit stop not working so far, but was very close.
And I'm just seeing people going in chat too of what's going on with all the Ferraris out here. So we are running a fixed setup out here for AMX20. So definitely it depends on the different track and car combinations. The Ferrari being the one car currently in iRacing doing the best out here with a fixed setup. So that's why we're seeing a lot of these drivers choosing the Ferrari, especially with so many top-level pro drivers out here. They definitely know what they're doing, have plenty of experience in all of the different GT3 cars. And today, it's looking like it's Ferrari all long out here at Spa. as well as a few people. Yep, I think, I mean, we might have to see. Again, you guys are just going to have to stay tuned for what is coming in Season 6. What's going to stay the same, what's going to change, what's going to be introduced. And like Evan was mentioning earlier, we have quite possibly one of the biggest events going to be happening next season that we've ever done in AMX. So absolutely make sure to stay tuned to all of our social medias, as well as follow us here on Twitch and YouTube. You can catch all of our replays back on our YouTube channel as well. So definitely always tons of racing. And Evan, one thing also Little Bird told me is we might have to see about what's going to happen during the off season if there may or may not be any Twitch streams going on there. We're going to have to wait and see. So everyone, absolutely make sure to follow our Twitch channel to see what other updates we might have going on. That's all I can say about that. But back to the race out here. We are in lap 8 of 13. Still, Gael Valero in first, Soriano second, and Blenat in third.
Yes, you can see down towards the pit lane comes David Ziwak, as does Pedro Mora come in to the pit lane. Bruno De Carmo in between the two, not heading to the pit lane, and there goes De Carmo up and ahead. Remember, we've got one more heat coming up after this one, folks, which will be reversed top 15 once again. So it would be Pedro Dean on pole if they stayed as they run. Can't imagine it will be that easy. There's Peter Zuba. He's now currently leading the pitters, and this is what Peter just does best. He's really good at just staying in front of cars and not necessarily worrying about them behind. And Peter Zuba last season was second in the AMX GT Championship. He's currently a driver for Race Clutch, and was ninth in the 24 Hours of Daytona top split. So he knows his way around these sort of endurance tracks. He's a vehicle engineer and a mechanical model engineer, so a very intelligent fella is Peter Jaws Zuba, once as well as a very quick sim racer. But the battle for second still rages on. Soriano and Blenat are slowly churning the wheel and are slowly catching Gael Valero.
And looking at this right here, so definitely excellent teamwork. They only have a few laps left. And then, Evan, I absolutely expect this thing to go into the final lap. If this is anything like we've seen yesterday for yesterday's finale of the AMX5, it went down to the final lap where we had all of that drama. Of course, Juan Blenat coming out victorious in heat number 2, heat number 1 qualifying, just absolutely slaying it out there. So I have no doubt that he has it in him to be able to fight for these guys for that first place position. But first, they're going to have to be able to catch Gael Valero before they're going to be able to pass him.
Yeah, as they snake their way through Blanchimont, make sure to get your entries in for our NLR gear giveaway in the Twitch stream chat. You just got to use the exclamation point, AMX in capital letters, and then tell us where you're watching from at home. And of course, we greatly appreciate you all supporting this stream here. You can win some fantastic prizes. And make sure you are staying active in the stream chat as well to give yourself that extra chance at winning the prize. The winners will be announced on Wednesday, of course, on the AMX Global Instagram. And if you want to race next season in AMX, you can, of course, at amxrace.com. But the lap times slowly deteriorating. They were in the 2:17s, now in the 2:18s. That could just be due to the nature of the race going on, but it's currently Valero, Soriano, Blenat, Scucci, Carmo, Zuba, Lorente, Ojavi, Salvador, Ziwak. That's your top 10. And it is Aguirre, Senjay, Victorino, Moore, Dean, Hutt, Inez, Reutemann, and Tomasimo, who unfortunately has not had the best of evenings so far. But still another heat, another opportunity for these guys to win, and that will, of course, be the final heat of the season.
So definitely, like I said earlier, it's great to see everyone out there in chat representing your different countries, having your flags out there. So we've seen a lot of people, Brazil, Germany, Panama, Uruguay, a lot of the South American guys we see representing out here. See a lot of people from my fellow countrymen as well. Seen some Texas, California, a lot of other people out there. So it's great seeing everyone. And like we said, coming out here for next season, definitely make sure to stay tuned to get signed up to race out here. We'll have to see exactly what's going on. We had AMX Zero this season, which was absolutely free to enter, free cars, free tracks, everything included in the base of iRacing, as well as we had some of the ACC races going on this season. Put on a great show from the likes of Gael Valero as well as Simone Seminaro, doing amazing there as well. So if you're an ACC driver, stay tuned, as well as iRacing. So no matter what sim you race in, keep a peek on all of our socials to see when we make those Season 6 announcements. But right back now, we are in lap 10 of 13. It is still Gael Valero been leading, maybe getting a bit bored, as right now no one's really tried to attack just yet. But like I said, the last couple of laps, I know that's definitely going to change for Toby Soriano. Juan Blanat been working together to close that gap. Gael Valero earlier had over a second gap, now being close to only 0.3 of a second. So now he's going to have to run this absolutely perfect if he wants to hold on to this victory, Evan.
He is, and remember, these guys all have to make pit stops. So Gael Valero, Tobias Soriano, Juan Blanat, Roman Pascucci and Bruno De Carmo all still have to come into the pit lane. But De Carmo not on your screen currently, he's 12 seconds behind. This is Valero, Soriano, Blanat and Pascucci. You can see rounding through La Source and in towards Eau Rouge and Radillon. And Gael Valero under a little bit of pressure now from Toby Soriano right behind. Will Toby go for the move on the Frenchman? It's the closest he's been in quite some time. It's a real opportunity for him. There's the 4 drivers you can see on the simulator, in their simulators. They are all laser concentrated here. There is no one budging, no smirks, no laughing that you sometimes get after a race. It is all pure passion for racing, and of course they're racing for prizes as well. But they're staying as they are. Pit stops are going to be a big factor here in this one.
Absolutely, and looking with David Toth being so far in the points, I know with that unfortunate incident, I know he's still trying to make his way up into 15th place so he can get on that reverse grid, but now he's sitting at about 14 seconds behind Pedro Dean, so still on the bubble. He only has a couple of laps left to get in there if he wants to do that, but like we said, I think the biggest thing for him is he's really just going to have to finish. He was able to get 6th in qualifying and still able to get over Gael Valero. So Gael Valero got 10th in qualifying, now maybe taking home the win out here. So definitely a little bit more of pressure, but we still have heat number 2 to go and see how well things end up out there. But I think, Evan, you know, still right now, knowing as good of a driver that David Toth is, we've seen him a lot of other races, of course, taking home an overall victory, a lot of heat session wins, as well as we got to see him last week in an AMX 5. I think he still has what it takes to be holding on to this championship without having too much stress on him.
Yeah, he has a very comfortable lead, does David Toth. I don't think he's anything to worry about realistically. Once he's here, he's picking up something. So the championship is pretty much decided, but these races are not. And here we go. Oh, look at this. The snake into the pit lane. Toby Soriano, Juan Blanat, Roman Pascucci, all into the pit lane here at Spa-Francorchamps. Gael Valero carries on. So himself and Bruno De Carmo will be the only 2 who have not come into the pit lane. Here is Peter Zuba, who's just been overtaken by Ruben Lorente Jr. So Lorente Jr. making the move at the right time. He's up ahead of Peter Zuba, down towards the right-hander. Where are these going to be in relation to Toby Soriano and Juan Blanat? Soriano and Blanat are well ahead. That car going past is not Ruben Lorente, that is Bruno De Carmo. It's only about a 13-second pit loss. It's a masterclass from the Argentines. They're now in the fight for the race win.
And just like that too, so Bruno De Carmo still yet to have his official pit stop, as well as Gael Valero. Very much looking like Bruno De Carmo going to lose those positions once again when he has to go into the pit. But right now, these guys have about a 14-second gap between themselves and Gael Valero. So it's really going to come down to how well of a pit stop will Gael have going into the final lap. And Evan, things are absolutely heating up. We called it earlier. We knew things were going to go down to the final lap. So we'll have to wait and see if we're going to have a drag race on our hands for that final lap once Gael Valero gets out into the pits, comes back out, where he's going to go on that.
Keep an eye on that gap between Gael Valero and the chasing pack. The Frenchman will know what this reminds him of. It's like France cycling, the sole leader at the front and the peloton chasing fast behind, and Gael Valero is a man under pressure now. Every corner has to be perfect. He's to pull into the pit lane on this lap, serve his pit stop, and try and still win this race. Remember how close he was to Toby Soriano on that in lap 4 Soriano when they all decided to pull into the pit lane. He's gone for the undercut, which has not really worked today, because otherwise it would be Ruben Lorente and Peter Zuba in the lead of this race, but they're heading down towards Blanchimont now. Kyle Valero will be into the pits in a matter of moments, and this is intense.
Absolutely. So here we go. The white flag almost about to come out. Gael Valero, we're going to have to keep an eye on him as well as here. Bruno De Carmo going to have to pit as well. There goes Gael now into the pit lane. Bruno De Carmo going to have to get off pretty soon here as well. So this is definitely going to be a close one. We're going to keep an eye on both of these drivers. Of course, Toby Soriano leading that pack of the drivers that have let their pit. So here we go. Now back onto the straight near the first round of pits. It's going to be a close one, Evan.
This is going to be very close. Remember, the run around La Source is longer for these drivers out on the track. Valero can kind of cut some of the inside of it. Blainat is in front. Valero on pit exit. They'll cut into camera shot now. Gael Valero's okay. He's up ahead. And Gael Valero should be able to win here. This is incredible. As Juan Blainat is in second. Toby Soriano in third. Blainat needs the lap of his life if he wants to catch Gael Valero, the man who was crowned overall champion last night. He is still in front, and look at this between Blainat and Soriano. It was like Soriano almost let Blainat through, heading on down towards turn number 1, which was really peculiar. But Gael Valero, he's looking comfortable, 1 second in front. The late pit stop was the correct choice.
And absolutely, there just Gael Valero showing once again why he is the overall points leader as well as the AMX5 champion. Definitely been a masterclass in driving out here today at Spa. One of, if not arguably, probably, you know what, I'm going to just say it right now. I say Gael Valero been out here the most consistent driver in AMX all the last few seasons as well, not just this season. And he's out here proving that once again, looking like he's going to take home the lead as long as he's able to keep it clean. Gael Valero first place, Juan Blainat second, and Toby Soriano third, as we are a few turns away from getting your heat number 1 victor.
Yes, rounding through the final couple of curves now, in through the campus chicane and down towards Stavelo, and then turn number 16, the curb Paul Frere, and down towards Blanchimont. Valero just has one more braking zone realistically to nail, and that is the bus stop chicane. Juan Blainat has thrown everything at him here in this last lap, but the gap has remained 1 second. 5 positions gained for Valero in through Blanchimont, the man who has raced most races here in AMX20, but he has not won a race, he's not won a session. He has, however, won 2 championships, and his prestige and his ability shines here in Spa-Francorchamps, and Gael Valero wins the opening heat of AMX20 ahead of Juan Blainat in second, Toby Soriano in third, Pascucci fourth, Ruben Lorente in fifth. Gael Valero with a champion's drive.
And just like that, so Gael Valero taking home the win, putting it down out here for France, and as well representing Apex Racing Team. So folks, that is why he is one of the best drivers on one of the best sim racing teams out there in the world. Gael Valero being super consistent, and now we see David Toth looking like he is just barely making that top 15 reverse grid. So Evan, I'm getting excited right now for heat number 2. David Toth is going to be on pole. He had an incident out here in heat number 1, but we'll see if he's able to walk away with the victory in heat number 2.
We will have to see. We'll get confirmation of your full results from this heat as well. Here's Ethan Reutemann rounding for the final few corners. It wasn't the look like he's had in AMX Zero maybe, or certainly the race that he had earlier in Oran Park in the Jetta, as he will come home 18th position. Reverse pole is, ironically, David Toth, the man who is going to become champion, the champion-elect. It is going to be him who will start from the front, so that's very good territory for David, the Drago Racing driver, who will be looking to take the win. Remember, folks, to let us know your thoughts in the stream chat, as well as enter our MLR gear giveaway. do so by exclamation mark AMX and then tell us where you're watching from. But your BenQ session winner is a familiar sight. It is the fabulous Gael Valero.
And I mean, I'm almost starting to see right here, definitely if we ever do an AMX Hall of Fame, this is going to be one of the people right at the top of the list. Gael Valero taking it home in that top spot, followed by Juan Blena in second place, and Toby Soriano coming in third. Roman Pascucci in fourth place, Ruben Llorente Jr. in fifth, Peter Zuba in sixth, seventh goes to Marcos Saavedra, eighth place, David Givok, ninth, Jackson Asenje, 10th place, Bruno De Carmo, 11th, Santiago Aguiar, 12th, Pedro Mura, 13th, Pedro Dean, 14th, David Toth, 15th, Quarantine Guinez, and we'll have to see exactly what happened there. Like we said, when the drivers were crossing the line, I seen David Toth was in about that 15th position, so we might have to see exactly what happened with the grid there. But the few drivers now looking like they did not make the grid: Gaston Culavi, Hamas Simon, Ayrton Reutman, and Matthew Victorino. So unfortunately, those drivers are going to have more than enough work cut out for them, not only to just get onto the podium if they have it, if they have the pace, but to get up through the rest of the grid. As back in the top 15 reverse grid, David Toth going to be leading pole position for heat number 2.
He is. Nice of Gael Valero to take off his invisibility cloak and join us in the driver BenQ camera. But it will be David Toth who will start on pole for this second heat here in Spa-Francorchamps. But he is alongside Simracing's finest in the form of Quarantine Guinez. Oh, Quarantine Guinez actually is starting on pole, but David Toth will take second then. Pedro Dean in third, Pedro Mora in fourth, battle of the Pedros in the second row. Then it is Santiago Aguirre, De Carmo, Resenje, Ziwak, Salvador, Zuba, Lorente, Pascucci, Soriano, Blenat, Valero, Gaston Kilhavi down in 16th position. We're rounding in through the bus stop chicane. It will be Quarantine Guinez on the inside in towards turn number 1. Will be the Hungarian champion-elect of David Toth. And for the final time, here in AMX Season 5, we go racing at Spa-Francorchamps. Excellent start by the third place man, Pedro Dean. He's down in towards turn 1. Santiago Aguirre is mixing it up with the best as well. There is a car gone round though, and that is Peter Zuba. That is Jaws, who has had his fin bitten off in through the first corner, and there's severe damage for Peter. He'll have to pull into the pit lane. Matteo Victorino having trouble as well, as is Roman Pascucci. Tamat Simon not having the best of starts either. He's down the order. Here is Santiago Aguirre, the Argentine, looking to battle with Pedro Dean in front of him. Aguirre in the purple, Dean in the grey, down towards the Lake on chicane. This is incredible drama here in Belgium. Guinez is leading in towards the first corner, the Frenchman taking over fellow Frenchman, but it's side by side, Santiago Aguirre and Pedro Dean, and it's going to be Aguirre who leads in the battle for third. The Argentine beats the Brazilian.
So just like that, we can see a bit of the picture-in-picture replay down there in the bottom right, as well as just what happened there at the start, going to turn 1 once again. Peter Zuba just getting taken out, went for the turn on the inside. Oh no, looking like Pedro Mura now getting shoved off the track just a little bit. So we have a lot of lap 1 action once again. Like we said, definitely we would not expect it to go any other way. These guys pushing it to the absolute limits, especially out here on the cold tires still. They had a bit of a formation lap, but it's looking like so far that may have just not been enough to quite get those tires and brakes heated up to where they want them.
Yeah, the Delente boys, not a delight here in Spa. They've had some trouble running into each other for the Tony Galan Esports team, but it is Simracing's Quarantine Guinez who leads, and they're all wide heading through Stavelo and in towards the curve Paul Frere for the first time, and someone going very wide indeed. I think that was Jackson Resenje actually. That a slingshot round the outside. 0.3 of a second separates Guinez and Toth at the front of this field. Aguirre then in third with Pedro Dean in fourth. Bruno De Carmo 5th, Jackson Resenje in 6th, Tobias Soriano in 7th with David Ziwak in 8th, Marcos Salvador in 9th, and then Gael Valero in 10th. There goes De Carmo, diving down the inside of fellow Brazilian Pedro Dean, and that's a simple move for Mr. Mohawk Bruno De Carmo. He is up and ahead.
And we can see already quite a few drivers going into the pit lane, getting their mandatory pit stop at here. So just to keep that in mind, looking like we've seen that last heat as well. Quite a few of the drivers towards the back of the pack, trying to get that out of the way. And I expect the leaders up front right now, Quarantine Guinez, David Toth, Santiago Aguirre, to be waiting until the last moment to get that definitely paid off last heat. But there we can see a picture-in-picture replay of the Mora incident. Just these guys getting door to door, just leaving no room for each other. And unfortunately, when you get that close, sometimes it just ends up in an incident. Right there, getting clipped on that rear driver fender and unfortunately sent off into the wall. So Pedro Mora, very unlucky day for quite a few drivers out here as well. But right now, still lap number 2, Corentin Guinez doing a great job. We'll see if we're going to have a French 1-2 heat number 1, heat number 2 victories for France. Corentin Guinez absolutely has the pace to do it out here. But like we said, the AMX20 current leader, our champion-elect, David Toth, looking to get in one more win before he takes home the championship trophy.
Through Pujon, accelerating out of the corner goes Corentin Guinez. He's got a good run on David Toth. I think Toth's camera has slightly slipped because usually we can see more of him in the opponent cam, but they are both hungry for this one. No pun intended. The Frenchman in the race lead. However, lap 2 of 13 here in AMX, the season finale, the final race of the season finale here in season 5, and that was a purple sector for Guinez, but it was beaten from down the field. Remember, folks, if you are watching at home, to enter our NLR gear giveaway, you can do so at !AMX and tell us where you're watching from after that. These guys are watching from the rear bumper of Corentin Guinez as they go snaking through Blanchimont. Is David Toth close enough to go for the move in towards the chicane? Is he able to do it? No, he isn't. Backs out, just stays behind. So we'll have to wait for potentially the run in towards last source or potentially the run up the hill to go for the move.
And one thing looking at that, definitely these drivers just being patient is going to absolutely come into play. We've seen in heat number 1, David Toth unfortunately getting caught up in that lap 1 incident. Now knowing, all right, I don't want to have another incident out here in heat number 2. We still have much of the race to go. We're only getting into lap number 3. So I'm just going to bide my time, try and be patient and just wait for that opportune moment to overtake Corentin Guinez, especially a lot of these with these long straights. Definitely going to try to get into the draft and just wait, because he knows if I overtake too early, there's a very good chance that Corentin Guinez may very well overtake me later on in the race. So I think right now you're just going to kind of sit back and really just wait for something to happen, not push too hard, but also hold on to that rear bumper of Corentin Guinez, because he also knows right behind him he has Santiago Aguiar, who also has the pace to be up on that top spot. So definitely the top 3 drivers not wanting to battle it out too much, knowing I see right there in the background too, Bruno De Carmo, Pedro Dean also not too far behind them. So definitely going to be a close one going into this. I'd say probably about mid-range. I expect these drivers to start turning it up once we get to about lap 6 or 7.
Yes, and they have to time their pit stops very well as well. I think we'll see a lot more wait until later in the race, because that's the strategy that did win for Gael Valero. But just because that was the strategy that won earlier, folks, does not mean that that's going to be the strategy that wins this second heat, because we've seen that many a time in AMX where one strategy would win the opening heat and then everyone does that strategy for the second heat, which means everyone has just counteracted each other and the person who did the different strategy actually went on to win the race. So you still gotta get creative. You still gotta think of this one. As you can see on the picture in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, battle for 5th place. That's between Pedro Dean and Jackson Resenge. Resenge looking to go for the move on Pedro Dean down in towards Blanchimont, and you can see Resenge trying the outside line, just not able to get close enough. Even picks up a bit of grass in towards Blanchimont, and he might try dive it down the inside in towards the bus stop chicane. And here comes Jackson Resenge, last of the late breakers, and Resenge is up and ahead in that battle for 5th. In the picture-in-picture, Pedro Dean falls down to 6th.
And just another great move right there. Another AMX veteran, Jackson Resenge, showing just why he is on the Tony Kanaan, of course, the Delinte Esports team, making it known, one of the best of the best. Currently, he ended up finishing 3rd. Here was a battle between him and Gael Valero for the lead early on in the season for AMX 5. Unfortunately, falling down a couple of places towards the end of it, but still nonetheless, Jackson Resenge has been one of the top drivers since we've been out here at AMX. Been here since nearly the very beginning, and is showing that he is still out here able to put it down with the best of the best. He is also one of the best of the best. I know we brag on him quite a bit once he gets in that spot of being able to defend, putting on a show quite a lot. I think we've seen between him and Gael Valero those two drivers from the past several seasons. It is never a dull moment from the two of them. But now looking at the track, things are cooling down on track just a little bit, in the literal sense that it is now only about 32 degrees, the track temperature. Back in qualifying, we were up at 39 degrees. So track is starting to cool down. Sun is starting to set just ever so slightly from where we were earlier at midday. But right now, the battle is still ensues. Corentin Guinez leading in first over David Toth in second.
Yeah, you can just see Guinez rounding slightly quicker in this middle sector than David Toth. Toth kind of closes it back in for the campus chicane. It is Guinez ahead of Toth, Aguirre, DeCarmo, Sanjay. That's your top five, and they're all running in unison out on the racing circuit. All running in unison here on the fourth lap of proceedings as they round through the curveball Frere on towards not necessarily a straight, but absolutely a flat out section. There's 550 prancing horses flying out the back of the bi-turbo V8s here in this fabulous Ferrari GT3 car. The season finale of AMX 20. $60 on the line for whoever is able to take this heat win. The final heat of the season. And it is been a fabulous one so far here tonight. Is David Toth able to go for the move down towards the first corner? It doesn't seem so. He'll have to stay behind for the time being. Juan Blainat with the fastest lap of the race on the last trip round. He was able to take that purple time, and that'll be an extra $8 prize for him if he is able to keep that until the end of the race. But whether he does, I wouldn't be so sure. Heading up through Eau Rouge and Ravillon, then just listen to these Ferraris roar.
Looking at chat, I've seen a lot of people enjoying themselves already, and still, if you are just joining us, make sure you can win some of our great gear from our friends over at Next Level Racing. We're doing a giveaway currently still going on. You just got to type in exclamation AMX and where you're from to be entered into that. Also, make sure to give us a follow whenever we go live out here on Twitch. We will be announcing the winner of the giveaway this coming Wednesday, August 21st on our Instagram. So make sure to head over to our Instagram, follow us there to see who gets announced the winner later on this week. But for right now, we'll have to see with a lot of these drivers. Like I said, I mean, we knew Corentin Guinez. He definitely still has the pace. He is one of the best drivers out here in the world, no matter what car he is in, and definitely putting it down out here. Heat number 2, of course, we had the the occasional lap number 1 incident that I guess is more than occasional. It's quite frequent. Almost every single race we see those lap 1 incidents. But going back to, we had the 24 hours of Spa back out here. A lot of drivers. We didn't see as many drivers in the Ferraris for the top split of that in iRacing. But also in real life, that was ran not too long ago as well, where Aston Martin came away with the win. I know there's a lot of people out there saying they want the Aston Martin GT3 car, as well as now that they have the Valkyrie coming out, they want to see what happens with WEC and IMSA, if Aston Martin is going to be coming out here even hotter, putting some more cars out on the grid. So we'll have to wait. iRacing, of course, recently putting in the new Corvette GT3 as well as Mustang GT3, and upcoming very soon the new McLaren GT3 for them as well. So a lot of changes, a lot of action going on out here for iRacing themselves, updating the GT3, as well as, since we're out on Spa, it was just recently announced from iRacing, they are going to be releasing an updated scan of this track. So one of, if not the most popular tracks out on iRacing now, going to be getting updated as well. But here we go, a few more drivers hitting the pits.
Yeah, Jackson Masenje is one of them. He's in and out. As you can see, a couple of stragglers from that first lap incident. Speaking of first lap incidents, remember back here in AMX 20 to Budapest, when we actually had an incident before the first lap. We had it on the formation run to the line. Silverstone 2 weeks ago. Both races ended with everyone flying into the pit lane. So you can't claim that AMX 20 hasn't been a very interesting championship to watch, and it's been a thoroughly great addition into AMX action, and we hope to have plenty more events like this in season number 6. But back to the on-track action. You're looking at Gael Valero hunting down Pedro Dean. This is for 5th spot. Doesn't go for the move into the Bruxelles hairpin. And Gael Valero in a very familiar blue just staying behind the Brazilian. I'd say Gael is feeling a bit out of his comfort zone here, because it's no secret that this man loves driving the Ford Mustang. So something different here in the Ferrari as he goes blinking down towards Pujol.
Absolutely. One thing that we have seen, and kind of make a joke at times of Gael Valero, definitely one of the drivers that sticks to the Ford whenever he can. But when you're out here at such a high caliber of racing, and everyone else is going to be out in the Ferrari, you just do what is going to get you that win. And of course, Gael Valero able to take home the victory in heat number 1. We'll see, doing quite well out here in heat number 2 as well, as he still continues to battle it out with Pedro Dean for that 5th place position. Things a little bit of a gap between Pedro Dean in 5th and Bruno De Carmo in 4th, so we'll have to see as now we're about halfway through heat number 2 if these guys are going to be able to possibly work together, or if they're going to battle it out and that gap is only going to increase. Of course, neither of these drivers have hit the pits just yet. So it's looking like right now we have all the way through our top 9 drivers still yet to take their official pit stop.
Yeah, Gael Valero and Bruno De Carmo were the last 2 to do it in heat number 1. So I expect he's going to stay to something similar. Gaston Kilhavy losing a handful of spots. Thomas Simon comes into the pit lane. Then Reutemann up to 7th as well. So still your leader currently of the pitters is Marcos Salvador, the Argentine driver, who was the quickest in qualifying, remember, so he's on course for a lovely prize tonight. We'll have your full race, or we'll have your full session results after this race, of course, as well as some post-race interviews, so do make sure you stick around until the full conclusion of tonight's broadcast. Here's Bruno De Carmo. Is he able to make the move on Sergio Aguirre? I wouldn't be so sure, because they are all staying liquid. So here is Valero, though, finally going for the move on Pedro Dean. The Frenchman finally ahead of the Brazilian. The Brazilian moves out of line, weaves back in. But unfortunately, it's down a place, because Gael Valero is up to 5th.
And I'm just going here, so I'll give a quick recap of what has happened so far in our AMX20 championship. So we had our first race back at the beginning of June, the very first AMX20 race we had out at the Nordschleife, where of course Chris Lullum was able to take home the victory for that one. Definitely a lot of close racing. The cloud started rolling in. It left quite a bit of drama. Going into the second AMX20 race of the season, we were in the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car out at Mount Panorama, where that one, I was able to be there for that. I was mind blown at what those drivers were able to do on the mountain, one of the most dangerous courses out there in the world. Of course, Sean Campbell able to come atop with the victory there, as well as Diogo Pinto and Gustavo Aria as well on the podium. For the race 3 of AMX20 this season, we were out at the Red Bull Ring on the Grand Prix course in the GTE cars. I know that one was another one that we had a lot of people talking about after. That was David Toss' first overall victory for AMX20, putting him into the championship lead, followed by also Dino Filippa and Florian Lebigre on the podium for that as well. Going into the 4th race of AMX20, we were in the GTP cars out at the Hungaro Ring, where Peter Zuba put on an absolute show, showing why he is one of the best GTP drivers, taking home the overall win there, as well as David Toth on the podium and Toby Soriano. And the most recent one, we were out at Silverstone, where Kieran Harrison, his home track, was putting on a great show, but he was able to just be bested overall. Actually tied Kieran Harrison and Dino Filippa for that first place position, but ultimately those guys back and forth the entire time. Kieran Harrison, of course, having the fastest in qualifying, and Tomas Simon on the podium as well. So just a quick recap of what we've had going on. But now back to our finale race out here at Spa. Looking like heat number 2 is still all Corentin Guinez.
Yeah, David Toth comes into the pit lane. He's now the leader of the pitters, 2.7 ahead of Marcos Salvador. So David Toth in a great spot here in this one, as is Corentin Guinez. In the final AMX20 heat here at Spa-Francorchamps. Got very overcast for a moment or two there. The official weather is cloudy, according to our timing screens. And it does say that we do have about 12-13 minutes left of racing action. Maybe a little bit more. So I don't know. I wonder, could we end the season off with a bit of late race drama? The rain hitting at the very end, just like you saw in our Nordschleife our Nordschleife promo video, I should say, not preview. The race happened months ago. Will the race end in very wet conditions? We'll have to wait and see. Gael Valero up 11 spots so far in this one. Ayrton Reutemann is up 12, and just as we say it, there we go, it's wet weather. The rain is coming down in Spa-Francorchamps in the Ardennes forest. This part of Belgium is the region that experiences the highest annual rainfall of anywhere. It rained for 20 years in a row at the Belgian Grand Prix. It's raining now. It's raining, it's pouring, the drama is building.
And just like that, this is exactly what we've seen for last season's finale. The rain coming down late in the race to shake things up. Like we said, though, at that point, Peter Zuba was able to take advantage of it, coming out victorious through that race. Unfortunately, Peter Zuba out of this race has since retired, but these guys will definitely see, you know, waiting until the last minute might also play into this. If the rain starts coming down harder and harder, these guys that have not yet taken their mandatory pit stops at the front of the field might just be switching tires. I know we seen yesterday Gael Valero, he was leading the race. There was quite the battle going on for the AMX5 finale yesterday, and those guys chose to stay out on the dry tires during the rain, unfortunately ending up with an incident on the last lap, leading to Juan Blenat to be able to take advantage of that and squeeze right through. So we'll have to see, of course, are these guys going to stick it out on the dry tires, or are they going to try and get the advantage? We'll have to just see, as now Bruno De Carmo right there, absolutely just doing a great job on the rear end of Santiago Aguiar, as well as Corentin Guinez, now about a 1.6 second gap in the lead.
Remember, the beauty about this Spa-Francorchamps circuit is it is 7 kilometers, 4.3 miles, that it can be raining at one part and bone dry in another, but this is a big shower here. It is a bit of a weather front that is coming over Belgium's finest racing facility, and you got to survive as well. You got to get to that pits if you want to make that tire change. These guys will definitely go for split strategy. Some will try and stick it out on the dries, some will try and end it on the wet tire. Last season we ended AMX Season 4 with a wet race around Belgium. It's the same here in Season 5. The pattern has repeated, and also that call that it was about to rain might be the greatest prediction of my commentary career, but that's another point. Look at Bruno De Carmo sliding, heading in through the campus chicane, and he is a man who is under pressure. He wants to keep it on the track in third spot, but those who have pit now, they might be questioning their decisions a little bit. Pedro Mora is into the pit lane, so we'll have to keep an eye there for him, but the lap times immediately dropping, so we're going to have a little bit more than the 13 minutes of racing.
And looking out here too, so I know a big moment that we've seen last season's finale, we had Simone de Mori out there. He chose to stay on the dry tires in the pouring wet, and it was looking like it was going to pay off for him, and unfortunately on the final lap he got disconnected and had to drop out of the race. Absolutely heartbreaking. We've seen that yesterday as well. Gustavo Ariel was doing an amazing job out there leading the race, only to drop out of nowhere. So here we go. The leaders are now starting to hit the pit lane. It's looking like a few people still staying it out on the dries, but we have these guys out here, Santiago, Bruno De Carmo in the pit lane. Your top three drivers still battling it out on the dry. We'll have to see if that is going to be definitely enough to lead even more. We've seen Bruno De Carmo getting a little bit stirred up out there, and of course they are absolutely changing to the wets right now. This is what's going to happen. I think right here, this strategy is either going to be the win or the loss for our top three drivers.
Yeah, currently in the pit lane getting wet tyres, or on the wet tyres, we have Santiago Aguiar, Bruno De Carmo, Gaston Kilhavy, Thomas Simon is on them, as is Ayrton Reutemann, and then Pedro Mora also going for the wet tyres. So that is what's at play here. It also matters when this rain is going to end, but it's obviously forecasted for a little bit. Tobias Soriano getting past Marcos Salvador, that's for 5th spot. Here out of the pit lane is Aguiar and Bruno De Carmo right behind as they head up Rouge and Marion on the wet tyre for the first time. Got to be very careful through there, and they are both okay. They're both up the hill nicely. This is really going to put maybe David Tott's fairy tale ending to AMX20 in jeopardization, because he is on the dry tyre. Can he stick out on it? We'll have to wait and see, but it's not looking as wet as it was in towards Lake Holm, and there is a bit of sunshine, but it is still raining. So it's a difficult situation for these drivers.
Absolutely, especially like we said, this track being such a large track, they're near the pit lane when these guys were getting their tires changed. As soon as they were coming out, still nice and sunny out there with the rain pouring down very hard. So now, if you haven't seen it before, you can absolutely say you have seen the rain coming down on a sunny day. And ooh, looking like someone right there. These guys are just a little bit off to the side. We'll have to see which car that is right there. But also our leader still holding it out pretty strong up on the front. As soon as I say that, looks we have a spin out from Pedro Dean. Fortunately, Pedro Dean gonna have to get back on. He is still on the dry tires out here in the rain. So Pedro Dean, unfortunately, losing that spot on the podium to David Topp.
Yeah, both the drivers you've seen going slowly were Pedro Dean and Marcos Saavedra, who are both on the dry tyres. You've got to box for the wets. You have to, otherwise you may not survive the remaining 3 or 4 laps here in this one. Unless you are a maestro like the two Frenchmen are at the front, maybe. You gotta potentially pit for the wets. And even look at David Todt, the champion! He's into the wall, heading through Blanchimont. And David Todt's fairy tale ending to AMX20 is just going down the drain because he is round. He's on the slip tyre, now has severe damage. Gael Valero's into the pits. Quentin Guinness carries on. Guinness carries on. Todt is into the pit lane for a quick repair. He's down the order. Oh, that's utterly disappointing for David Todt. He will not mind too much as he will be the overall champion. But that's just heartbreaking for the Hungarian.
Absolutely right here. We know Gael Valero looking to make it one more win as well out here in the finale. Switching onto the wets, but like you said, with Quentin Guinness, now we see Pedro Dean, Toby Soriano into the pits. We have a few other people. Santiago Aguiar now able to get into that second place position, as well as Bruno De Carmo in third. So we'll have to wait and see. Quentin Guinness, I mean, like you said, I mean, that looks like the move right now with how wet the track is. He may be in danger. We're going to have to keep an eye on where he is. He has about a 35-second gap between himself and second place, but definitely going to shake things comes in for that tire change. Jordan, I mean, right now it's hard to say as it looks like the clouds are rolling back in, starting to get a little bit more glim out there, just a little bit darker on certain parts of the track. So, I mean, we'll have to see if this strategy is the right one from Quarantine. Of course, he is one of the best drivers out here, but is he one of the best on dry tires in the rain?
I'm surprised he didn't pit because he has to pit anyways. Unless he feels that Slicks is still quicker, but Bruno De Carmo flies around the outside of Aguirre. These guys have caught well over a second to Quarantine so far, and Guinness is off through Pouhon. Runs it wide here, you can see in the picture-in-picture. Just about does a great job. And just about keeps it online. That is incredible, as Aguirre has damage, I believe, or according to the chat anyways, he's wingless. As we might have to get it off watch. Yep, there's no downforce on that car. So something has happened to Aguirre. He is like KFC's new deal, wingless or something. But that was a great joke. But Aguirre having some problems. Boneless is what they're saying. He's not wingless. Guinness heading through Stavelo. Look how slow he's going. Quentin Guinness has lost 10 seconds here. Bruno De Carmo could well win this race.
Yeah, looking at that, I mean, I was keeping an eye on Quarantine as well, and there was a few more that, even as we're looking at the other drivers, a few more times that he went off track. So right now he knows, okay, it is now or never. He has to pit, get his mandatory pit stop. Still the only driver yet to make his mandatory pit stop. So as we see him sliding even more, going down into the chicane. So Quentin Guinness now less than 20-second gap, so 15 seconds lost. He's just getting into the pits right now. He says, all right, I have to do it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to come out, so we'll have to see right here. Bruno De Carmo may be very well coming out with the from behind wind. He has enough pace on him. Of course, Bruno De Carmo already taking his pit stops and on the wets. We'll have to see Quentin Guinness. Maybe he should have pitted one lap earlier.
Let's see, I think De Carmo could well be ahead because Guinness is into the box, and yes, he's changing his tyres, meaning Bruno De Carmo is going to be in the lead of this race here in Belgium with 2 laps to go. Gael Valero ahead of the wingless Ferrari of Santiago Aguirre. Guinness is still in the box. He's thrown this one away. If he had a pit on the same lap as Gael Valero, we may have a completely different situation on our hands. He's still sat in the box. It's a long wait now, and he will come out behind Thomas Simon, I believe, or will Simon be ahead of Quentin Guinness? Yes, Simon will be ahead of Guinness. So Guinness is down to 6th. He's thrown the race win away. It's now up to Bruno De Carmo and Gael Valero. Can Valero go 2 for 2 to confirm himself as the greatest here in Season 5? He has a mighty task on his hands.
So like we said earlier on in this race, we knew it was going to come down to pit strategy for the winners, but the rain absolutely causing a bit of chaos, causing things to go an entirely different way out here. And now we'll have to see if Gael Valero has enough to be able to get the pace back up in him to overtake Bruno De Carmo. Right now there's about a 3.8 second gap, as well as a couple drivers behind him who are very quick too. So we have Santiago Aguiar in third, as well as Ayrton Reutemann now trying to overtake. So like we said, the car right there of Aguiar not having that rear wing, he definitely does not have as much grip going into some of these corners. So with the tires, of course, the wet not having that mechanical grip, but the downforce is still going to be your friend. So that's a very odd place to be in some of these high-speed corners, is how much can I actually push it, because I do have a little bit more aero than some other cars, but I'm still out here trying to not dance around in the rain too much. Like we said, I have a good feeling Ayrton Reutemann still with about a little bit over a lap left in this thing, that he may have just a chance to get back up onto the podium, Evan.
What an absolute job this is by Aguiar, though, to keep this car on track in a car that just wants to rotate round at every given opportunity, especially in through the scathy Stavalo. And Ayrton Reutemann is just biding his time here. He knows there's not a lot more for him in this race other than that third, so just wants to make sure that the move doesn't jeopardise himself or Santiago Aguiar in front. So Ayrton Reutemann is going to do a good job. Heading in towards Blanchimont for the second final time, these guys. And that purple wingless Ferrari just twitchy all over the circuit, but an incredible job from the Argentine nonetheless. As you can see, here comes Ayrton Reutemann, the AMX Zero champion of Season 5. They're going to take a podium place to round out the season here in AMX20, I should say, as Reutemann just having to go around the outside. Santiago, wingless, but not lost on hope. He's fighting this one, and Reutemann is going to have to try and go down the inside, because Santiago is a trooper. He's a warrior, and he's putting up a battle.
And just like that, we see Santiago Aguiar trying to still hold on to the outside. Still doing a great job, but I think he knows eventually he's going to have to give it up. He is a little bit faster in the straights, of course, not having that rear wing slow him down, but now a dangerous job looking to the inside, and on the wet line right there, crossing over. So Reutemann still able to hold on to that here as they're going up and now back onto another stretch. So absolutely now Aguiar back in the spray of Reutemann. Reutemann up into third place now, and there's quite a significant gap now between second and third as we check back in with Gael Valero, who still has about a 2.5 second between him and Bruno De Carmo. So as we are on the final lap, I don't think Gael Valero might not have enough pace to get back up to Bruno De Carmo unless De Carmo makes an absolutely horrible mistake out here. So fingers crossed, we'll have to see, as we are moments away from finishing it out, folks. Heat number 2, our final race of the grand finale, AMX20 Season 5.
We're in through the Jackie X curve for the final time, looking at your overall champion, Gael Valero, who's been phenomenal tonight and still looking to chase down De Carmo in front. For the final time, we remind you can enter our NLR gear giveaway by typing !AMX and then tell us where you're watching from in the stream. The campus chicane for the final time. It is De Carmo who is leading ahead of Gael Valero. David Toth will be your AMX20 champion, and Gael Valero, of course, confirmed as your overall champion last night, but he is still hunting down the Brazilian in front. The gap is not closing quick enough, though. He would have to be within touching distance now if he would like to take it, and Bruno De Carmo is going to coast this one home, it seems, from first place. He has Blanchimont to go through, and then the bus stop chicane, and if he can get it out of the bus stop chicane, he knows that he is home. Certainly not dry, but he is home with the race win in his back pocket. And here is Bruno De Carmo rounding through Blanchimont. He is looking to take his first win here in AMX20. It's been brilliance from the Brazilian, from start to finish, and the beloved, the bold and brave Bruno rounds through the bus stop. He is going to win the finale here in Season 5. Fist pump of delight. De Carmo is victorious here in Spa-Francorchamps. It is a fan favourite to round us off. But what's been the best season in AMX history?
Absolutely. So putting it down for Brazil, putting it down for Delinta Esports. I know, of course, Bruno De Carmo being a streamer himself. I know he has a lot of people out here supporting him. Everyone out there, I don't speak Portuguese, but I can just see the excitement through the chat with everyone out here for Brazil, for Delinta. Bruno De Carmo taking it home. An absolute masterclass of a drive out here. And like we said, the strategy, unfortunately for Corentin Guinez, he waited one lap too late. It looked like he had the race in the bag, but stayed out on those dries in the rain just a little bit too long, putting him all the way back down into 6th place, leaving room for Bruno De Carmo, Gael Valero, and Ericsson Reutemann to be on top of the podium.
What an end to the season. We're in season 5, folks. We'll have a few interviews coming up and then we'll have your results in our final round off. But these guys just rounding through for the final prize giving positions. David Thought 12th and your champion of AMX season 5. It is confirmed. Thought is AMX20 champion, as Ruben Lorente is going to end the season driving the wrong way around the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, which is maybe, oh no, he's not actually, he's going the right way. I thought he was going backwards through Sabalo for some reason, but he is going the right way, just in the campus chicane. That was a dramatic end to a brilliant AMX 20 season, and I think as an inaugural season, Kevin, we couldn't have asked for much more.
You know, I couldn't agree with you more for that. I definitely think, you know, AMX 20, we had it announced on last season's finale. A lot of people kind of saying, well, what is that really going to be? And what it's meant all season long is some of the best driving, not only for AMX, but in my opinion, some of the best driving in all of iRacing, right up there with some of the official series. We've had a lot of top level drivers, a lot of professional sim racing drivers that go out there for every other event. They come in here into AMX, and of course, we like to shake things up a bit, not sticking to one car class. We had GTPs, we had GT3s, the Porsche Cup car, all for the same championship, and that's what makes AMX different. That's what makes AMX one of the best leagues, one of the best championships out there in the world. The best drivers putting it down weekend after weekend in every single car, coming out to see who is the best overall driver, not just the best driver in a single car. But there we go, Bruno De Carmo, it's all smiles for him as he is your current BenQ session winner for heat number 2.
Gael Valero then taking second, and a fantastic job by him. Ethan Reutemann in 3rd, Santiago Aguirre in 4th, Tamasimo in 5th, with Corentin Guinez in 6th, Tobias Soriano in 7th, Edward Dean in 8th, Gaston Kilhavy in 9th, Marcos Saavedra in 10th, Andre Nat in 11th, David Toffoli in 12th, Jackson Mersenje 13th, Pedro Moore 14th, and then Ruben Lorente in 15th position. We unfortunately lost a few drivers in that one as well. That was David Ziwak, Matteo Victorino, Roma Mascucci, and then a little bit further down we did also lose no, sorry, that was it, 19 runners. Fastest lap as well went to Juan Le Nats, so he picks up an extra 8. That was Peter Zuba. I knew we lost someone else. Peter Zuba we lost at the first corner, but that is it. That is your final race results here in the AMX Season 5 World Championship. Bruno taking a sip of some beverage to celebrate. We can only assume that it is champagne.
Yeah, so definitely champagne on the podiums for these drivers out here, putting it down. One of the best season finales that we could have asked for, akin to last season finale. I mean, even yesterday, I think, you know, we're just going to have shorter seasons and more season finales, because every single time we're out here for the finale, it is some of the best racing that we've ever seen. And exactly that's what we got out here today. So once again, a big congratulations to everyone out there. Closing out the season, there's been blood, sweat, and tears left out here on the track all season long. And make sure to follow all of our social medias. Like we said, we still have a lot. We're going to have to see what some of these drivers have to say coming up very soon on how things went today. Of course, the biggest thing, the rain coming in, shaking it all up. Corentin Guinez leading, unfortunately losing that lead by not changing his tires. So a hard lesson learned there, but I know Corentin will come back stronger than ever next season, as well as quite a few of these drivers that were atop the leaderboards. Evan, I already can't wait to see what Season 6 has in store.
I'm so looking forward to Season 6. I think it's going to be an absolute fantastic season. But before, of course, we even get to Season 6, let's have a quick interview then. And we are going to hear from the fan favourite, I think, in the Twitch chat today. I might be wrong saying that, but I think it's the fan favourite. We're going to hear from Mr. Bruno Di Carmo in a second and hopefully hear his thoughts on what was an absolute fabulous race. And Bruno was fantastic today, Kevin, I think.
Yeah, definitely. He's been very consistent. Of course, like we said, atop the leaderboards all throughout all the different series, and coming back out here. Had a bit of an off weekend last weekend, but I think this more than makes up for it. So let's head over into the interview room and see what he has to say.
Hello, Bruno, can you hear me?
Hello, Ivan. Yeah.
Congratulations. It is a win at Spa to round out the season. Are you chuffed with that one?
Cannot believe it, mate. That was incredible. Oh my god. I think I'm in love with the rain on iracing. So I think we learned a lot from the 24 hours of Spa, and I did the same racing line and it worked. So I'm totally happy for this win, and I didn't believe at all that I could win from those guys. This grid is insanely high rating, high skills guys, and damn, bro, that was so good.
Do you think your experience with that Spa 24 and with the wet weather helped you to maybe make the right call for tyres, or to certainly keep you on the track?
Absolutely, yeah. We practiced a lot for that event, and yeah, we did a lot of laps in the rain. So when I saw the weather at the start, I was maybe we have a chance here. So I was pretty happy then that we got the rain. I think 5 laps to go, so it was pretty wet.
How would you sum up AMX Season 5 then as a whole? What way would you describe your campaign?
Overall, yeah, I'm pretty happy with all the results. I think I did really good races overall, always trying to stay on the top 10. And Gael, I said that previously, and Gael was too much for me. Congratulations to him. He was the champion all the way through. And I think for a start, because that is my first full season that I did in AMX, and I think that's a great start for me. And also, congratulations to you guys. Again, this is the best championship that I ever experienced, and I've been around for quite long. I think I have 12 years on iRacing, and I did a lot of championships, and this is simply the best. The idea to reinvert the grid from the qualify, it's genius for me, and it's super fun for us that we are inside the car, and I think it's pretty fun for everyone who's watching back home.
Speaking of people watching back home, there was a lot of Bruno Di Carmo fans in our Twitch chat tonight and throughout the season. Do you have any messages for the fans watching?
Yeah, they are the best. I think I did I send everyone to you guys, because I don't know if they know the AMX Championship yet, so I'm pretty happy that everyone get into the AMX channel in Twitch and also on YouTube. And I super thanks to everyone that cheers for me and hang up with me at my Twitch channel. And yeah, thank you everyone. Thanks the link to my team. Jackson Rezende was crucial today because He told me, Bruno, get on the pits right now. And it was the perfect timing for change the tires to wet, and he saved me for sure. So big thanks to Jackson Rezende, he's an excellent driver. Pedro Moura, Evandro Dantas, Victor Miranda, everyone. Ralph Benitez, everyone is who is my teammates. They are the best. Thank you so much.
And final question on behalf of the fans watching. Does the hair give you extra straight line speed?
Absolutely not, mate. This is too much drag on the straight line. No, it does not. I think I need to shave my head and be like Tony Kanaan, maybe.
Bruno, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate you joining us for the interview, and congratulations on the race win.
Thanks for having me, guys. Super. Can't wait for the next season.
Great to hear from Bruno there. He loved the rain tonight, Kevin, and I think we did too.
Absolutely. I love hearing from Bruno Di Carmo. Anytime that he's been in the interview room, you can just tell it's just really just pure emotion, really being able to say everything on his mind. I know we've seen him quite a few times, of course, Gael Valero in the interview room. I mean, if it gets to a point, we might have to start naming the interview room after some of these guys. But back to that, like we said, Evan, right now we still had on the bubble our current champ-elect, David Toth. So we're going to have to see what the official results are before we can officially 100% say of the man, the myth, the legend. So still, I'll let you take it away, Evan.
Well, your winner from tonight is Gael Valero with a $122 win. Marcos Salvador in second. Bruno Di Carmo then in third. Juan Blainat tying for third. Tobias Soriano and in fifth. Quarantine Ganez tying for sixth with Roman Pascucci. And it was Santiago Aguirre in eighth, and then tied for ninth is Thomas Simon and David Toth, which officially confirms Gael Valero is your overall Season 5 winner, your AMX 5 winner, and your AMX Zero winner, of course, is Ethan Reutemann, and your AMX 20 winner is the fabulous Hungarian of David Toth. What a season it has been, folks. We thank you very much for your company tonight here on the broadcast, and as well for entering our NLR gear giveaway. The winners of that will be announced on Wednesday on @amx.global on Instagram, so make sure you go and check that one, as well as the rest of our social media channels below for the final time this season. I invite you to checking those out, as well as amxrace.com if you'd like more information. Season 6 is going to be even better than what has been nothing short of a masterpiece here in Season 5. So from myself, from Kevin, and from everyone behind the scenes here at AMX, we thank you once again for tuning in throughout the season. The break will not be long. We will be back soon for more fabulous AMX action. Stay safe, stay well, and we shall see you next time. Bye-bye.